Good evening. Tonight from Rebel Stadium on the campus of South High. Welcome to Prep Football exclusively on CNN SI, Time Warner Cable, Channel 52. Tonight, South High, who is 3-1, is hosting the unbeaten Arvin Bears, who are 4-0. Arvin has a fantastic offense, 1,900 yards this year, 824 on the ground by Seth Cunningham, the top rusher in the area, Dennis.
Well, Mark, Seth Cunningham's just had a great year. Go ahead. Okay, Seth Cunningham just had a great year this year, and I'll tell you one thing, if you're South High, you've got to be very worried about him because leading runner in the central section, and he's really going to be the key tonight.
Mayfield is the quarterback for South. He's rushed for over 200. He's passed for 300. He's complemented by a couple of tailbacks who have combined for about 450 yards on the ground.
Well, that's true, but if you're South High, what you want to do is you're going to put 8 men up in the box right behind the defensive lineman, and you're going to really key on Seth Cunningham because if you don't stop him, you've got no chance to beat Arvin. So tonight, it'll be the South defense against the Arvin rushing game with Seth Cunningham.
Both teams have huge offensive and defensive linemen.
They do, but again, Mark, South is limited with their depth. They only have about 30 players, so with them, injuries will really be a factor. So tonight, they're going to have a lot of guys going both ways, and in the second half, if they get a little bit tired, that's when Seth Cunningham really does his damage.
It's South and Arvin tonight, exclusively on CNN SI, Time Warner Cable, Channel 52.
Over the last 60 years, our law firm has helped thousands of accident victims win millions of dollars. But our work goes beyond the money. It's really about people. 15 years ago, I represented the mother of a 4-week-old baby who was permanently brain damaged when her infant seat failed in an automobile accident. I testified before the legislature and fought for laws to protect children. Today, children are safer because of those laws.
When you need us, we'll be there.
Have you videotaped a special event that just has to be shared with your friends and relatives? Then Time Warner Productions is the only place you'll need to go for quality on-time duplication. We'll take your videotape and transfer it to whatever format you want and make enough copies for everyone on your list. We'll even convert your foreign videotapes to meet American standards, as well as convert your videos to send overseas. Just stop by Time Warner Productions in the Time Warner Cable office on Select Avenue and tell us, I need a dub. It's fast, easy, and the only way to go to get multiple copies of your videos.
Holiday Ford Lincoln Mercury is clearing out the 98s. Now we have $1,000 cash back, plus 0.9% financing on Escorts, Contours, Mystiques, Tracers, and Rangers. Now that's real savings. How about a red carpet lease on a new 98 Explorer? Come in and buy one, and the first payment up to $500 is on us. Don't make a wrong turn. Make the turn for Lerdo Highway in Shafter. We're easy to get to from both the 5 and 99 freeways. Say habla español.
Come to Holiday.
And a plus good evening from South High School tonight. The Rebels in pale blue take on the Arvin Bears, who are 4-0. Arvin with white and red. Arvin moving right to left across your TV dial and south in the opposite direction. Kickoff comes to the Arvin Bears, and one of the Cunninghams, and that is Jess Cunningham, who doubles as wide receiver and defensive back for the Arvin Bears. His brother, Seth, the area's top rusher. Over 800 yards this year, 14 touchdowns in only 4 games. He has a chance to go over 1,000 yards in only his 5th game of the year. As you can see, Seth Cunningham, number 1 at tailback, with the quarterback being Raul Rosales, number 10. Segura at fullback. Finez, Brand, Garza, Bedoa, Rocha, and Coronel, who is a big guy at one of the tackle spots. I formation for the Bears. There's Mr. Cunningham to the outside 30. Cut down from behind as he gets across the 30 to about the 32. Dennis?
Well, Mark, I'll tell you, we start out this game, and everybody's talking about Seth Cunningham, the fine tailback for Arvin. And, you know, as you noted in the pregame show, the top rusher in the section. And it's going to really be a chore for South High tonight to try to put the corral on him, because he's just a fine runner. Great explosion, great balance. And you know what he has, Mark? A lot of good runners have. He has great vision.
Well, we saw him last year when they played against Highland. He's been a fine runner for a couple of years there at Arvin. He's playing at a different level. Gonzalez to throw, long downfield, open is the other Cunningham. He's got it. He should go the distance. 20, 10, touchdown, Arvin Bears.
Well, Mark, that was just a great pass play action. What happened on that is everybody was key to Seth Cunningham. He veered to the right and then took the whole defense with him. And then his brother, cousin, whatever you want to call him.
Just Cunningham.
Yes, and he went down the left sideline. Perfect throw. And that was a 30-yard, about a
68-yard play.
Yeah, 68-yard touchdown play. And I'll tell you one thing, that's just a great first offensive series for Arvin. They really have South really backed up here in a spot, Mark.
On a PAT attempt on number 20. It is up. Line drives it. It is good. 7-0 in favor of the Arvin Bears as we have just begun here from South High School. 11:09 to play in the first quarter. And striking is just Cunningham on the throw by Rosales.
Well, Mark, you know, the key to Arvin's attack is, you know, pound Seth Cunningham, run him right, run him left, run him up the middle. But what people don't realize is when South High plays that 8-man defensive front, it really leaves the cornerbacks one-on-one coverage. And Jess Cunningham was able to get deep. Really was fooled on the play because it was a fake to the right, and the whole defensive flow went to the left, and the offense went to the right. And then what happened was that Jess Cunningham just floats out down the left sideline wide open for the pass, and that's what a good running attack will do. Everybody's so concerned about the run that it leaves the pass wide open. So Arvin really has a great balance, but their passing attack is really set up by their great run.
He was definitely wide open. The kind of spot that a wide receiver likes to be in. As the Arvin Bears kick off here early in the first quarter, as they have stunned this crowd at South High. Kickoff underway. Comes to number 4, Burrell, one of their tailbacks. Starts to the middle, cuts to the left side, across the 30 to the 35. Burrell for South, number 4. He has 34 carries for 212 yards this year and a couple of touchdowns. He splits time at tailback with Thompson, 40 carries, 257 yards, and a couple of touchdowns. The quarterback for South High is Joey Mayfield. He's a senior, 5'10", 175. He has rushed for over 205 yards and a touchdown. He's passed for 376 yards and 3 touchdowns for South High. The Rebels, 2 receivers wide to the right. They're down 7-0 very early. Nisi Austin, 6 receptions this year. Burrell, the ball carrier, hit in the backfield. Barely gets back to the line of scrimmage.
Well, Mark, I think if you're South High, you want to get some type of running game here established, especially on your first offensive series, because every time Arvin gets that football, you know, Seth Cunningham and Jess Cunningham are so explosive that South really needs to control the clock here, Mark, get a running game going, and really keep the ball away from the Arvin offense.
Langston Daligan, Ripakima Rivera, the down lineman for Arvin on defense. 2nd and 12 for South. Burrell tries to cut back, squirms his way for about 3 yards, but Arvin up to the task. It'll be 3rd and long for South High, the Rebels. Lomax, Theta, and Burrell. The deep men for the South High defense. We'll check out the Arvin defense momentarily. 3rd and 7 for South. Receivers split to each side. Mayfield looking over the defense as they're down 7-0. Pass incomplete. Looking for an inside pass over the middle to Austin. Overthrew it. 4th down for South, punting time.
Mark, that was a good offensive call by South High. It was a slant over the middle. Would have gotten them the amount of yards that they needed.
Austin, 6 receptions, 120 yards this year and 1 touchdown. The South will be punting. And standing back deep for the Arvin Bears, number 2, Oscar Becerra. He's a defensive back, also plays some offense. Actually a slot back and also a DB, 155-pounder. On the down line for the Arvin Bears was John Phillips, Santos Rodriguez, Edwin Roberti, and Fernando Rivas. The punt is underway. Beautiful punt. Seth Cunningham fumbles it at his own 15, looking upfield. Slips by a tackle. And another one to the 20, 25. Stops, puts his head down, goes forward to about the 31. So he made something out of nothing, a 165-pounder for the Arvin Bears, number 1. And he's made a lot this year, and sometimes out of nothing. South defense. Dan Lomax, left corner, right corner. Sakani Burrell, the tailback. Miller, inside linebacker. He's a big guy, about 240. Sita, ball at safety. Outside linebacker Eric Williams. You have Marcus Rivera, Duff, Figures, Ripakima, and Dalton. The defensive tackles for South High. 9:35 to play in the first quarter. 7-0 in favor of the Arvin Bears. Moving right to left here. And a penalty against Arvin. Had to be a dead ball penalty. Going to take him back to the 15-yard line. Maybe unsportsmanlike conduct or some type of personal foul.
Well, Mark, here on the second offensive series for Arvin, we know that Seth Cunningham is going to be a key figure in this drive. They love to get the ball to him. Pitch right, pitch left. He goes up the middle. Very, very strong runner for around 165 pounds. Very solid. But Rosales has proven, Mark, that he can throw the football. And one player to really look for, as we did in the last offensive series, is Jess Cunningham, the left split end.
First down for the Arvin Bears. Pitch back. Seth Cunningham. Sweep left. Knocked out of bounds outside the 20 to about the 22. As the running left, number 10 with a tackle for South High, Ben Sita. Ben plays a wide receiver for South in offense. Doubles as a safety on defense. Williams, Miller, Duff, the backers for South High. Lomax, Sita, and Burrell, the defensive backs. As I mentioned, Langston, Dalton, Ripakima, and Rivera, the down lineman for South High. Second down. Inside handoff goes nowhere. So the Rebels putting up a brick wall here on that second down play.
Well, Mark, South High in the interior defensive line is a little bit bigger than Arvin, and I think it would really be assistance to South High if Arvin would run the ball at the middle. But we know Arvin, with their great team speed, wants to get Cunningham to the outside. That's where really South can be hurt, Mark, by the team speed of Arvin. They're a little smaller and quicker, and what they want to do is get Cunningham to the outside, where he can use his great cutback ability to score big yardage.
Frank Segura at fullback. Raul Rosales, a quarterback for Arvin. Seth Cunningham sweep right. They're able to do a great job defensively. Number 2, and that would be, I think, Sita and company. As Cunningham tried to split between them, with South High up to the task. Fourth down for the Arvin Bears.
Well, Mark, on that offensive series, I thought South was a little bit more effective. What they did is they were playing like a 5-2 defense, Mark, and then they had a strong safety come up towards the line of scrimmage, so they were playing 8 men up at the line of scrimmage to really stop Cunningham. Good defensive stand by South. That's what they're going to have to do to stay in this football game.
Dan Lomax making an attack for South. Very poor punt. Takes an Arvin roll across midfield 50 to the 45. It'll be 1st and 10 for South in their own territory at the 44-yard line, thanks to about a 10-yard roll. South High down 7-0 with 8:09 to play here in the first quarter. Now South High coming into this game had rushed for, if I look at their stats here, I think they combined for about 1,000 yards offensively. They've given up about the same amount. South High 819 on the ground, 376 through the air, 73 points defensively. They allowed 669 on the ground, 356 through the air, 1,025 and 55 points. Arvin on defense, South on offense here. Inside handoff, and Arvin doing a great job. As you see Mayfield run the option from time to time. He likes to run a football. He's had over 200 yards on the ground this year and 350 or so through the air. 1 touchdown running, 3 passing. He's trying to be a balanced quarterback.
Well, Mark, Arvin's trying to run the ball inside the tackles or between the tackles tonight, and so far the quickness of Arvin's been very effective. South has not been very effective trying to get the ball inside the tackles. They haven't made hardly any yards at all.
Arvin with 4 men on the defensive front. Outside handoff across the 45 to about the 47.
At this time, I think you're going to see South High, Mark, probably try to open it up a little bit with some more passes here. But I think initially they're trying to get comfortable, feel the defense out for Arvin. But I think as the game progresses, you're going to see South go to the air a little bit, try to loosen up that Arvin defense.
Nick Thompson, the ball carrier. Wide to the right for South High is Reese Austin with a man in the slot. Mayfield rolling to his right. Heavy rush. Now he goes to his left. 45. Cuts back midfield 50. And swarmed over by the Arvin Bears at that point. It'll be fourth down for the Rebels. Punt time. 6:50 to play in the first quarter. 7-0 Arvin over South. Great pursuit by the Arvin Bears defense.
Well, so far, Mark, Arvin defense has really scouted South well. They've been able to stop the power running of South between the tackles, and when the quarterback likes to roll out, they've been able to flood the defensive secondary with double coverage. And so there's been nowhere for the quarterback to throw for South, and they've done a fine job so far in the two offensive series for South High.
Jose Perez, Frank Garza, Jaime Duran, some of the linebackers for Arvin doing a great job there. South downs it at the 12-yard line. So Arvin will take over. 1st and 10 at their own 12. 7-0 Arvin, 6:12 to play. As Hobson gets off the punt for South High. We'll see what Seth Cunningham can do on this series for the Arvin Bears. His brother Jess caught a long touchdown pass for their initial score tonight after a run or two by Seth Cunningham. Arvin starting out deep in their own territory. Wide to the left, number 4, Jason Grider, who doubles as a free safety for the Arvin Bears. It's Cunningham to the outside, running room, 30, 35, almost slips a tackle, gets up to the 45-yard line. It's about a 35-yard run by Seth Cunningham.
Mark, he shows great speed to the outside, doesn't he? Great blocking by the Arvin offensive line, but basically, Mark, Seth Cunningham just outruns them. He just goes wide right, wide left, and just outruns the defensive ends, linebackers in the secondary. I mean, he's just an amazing, explosive runner. His first 5 to 10 yards, Mark, is so quick and so explosive.
Well, he dipped inside, then it went to the outside. And he really knows how to find the opening. 6:01 to play in the first quarter, 7-0 in favor of the Arvin Bears. Arvin 4-0 in non-league. Garza's also at 4-0 in South Sequoia League. Wasco Taft have a good start. Tehachapi 2-2 and Shasta 2-2. None of these teams have played a league game, so these are non-conference games. Arvin, of course, has been in the Southeast Assembly League the last couple of years, and now they move back into the South Sequoia League. And it should be quite a race between they and Garces and maybe Tehachapi and Wasco for the front running spot in the SSL.
Well, Mark, I think that SSL is one of the most competitive it's ever been now with Arvin, because you got Arvin, you probably have a good team in Tehachapi, even though they're the defending champions, are a little down this year. They're going to be pretty tough. Wasco, probably a little improved. Shafter, definitely improved. And now you have, of course, Garces, always perennially strong. So that's one of the most balanced leagues that we've had in the SSL in a long time. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, and Taft is a better team this year, too. It's strong from top to bottom. A lot of outstanding offensive players in that league. Ryder wide to the left. Man-to-man coverage by the South High Rebels. Resolves to throw, looking for Grider. Wobbles it up in the air. It is incomplete. Grider had a hand on it. Nice coverage nonetheless by Burrell, South High.
Well, Mark Burrell's out there all alone, the right cornerback for South. And again, you know what that play reminded me quite a bit, Mark? It reminded me of the Green Bay, Minnesota game when Randy Machos goes up and grabs the ball from Randall Cunningham. Just throw the ball up for grabs and let your taller receiver just go up and pick it off. And that's what they do, and that's what they did on that play, just kind of an alley-oop down the left sideline. And you want Grider just to go up and outfight the defensive corner for the ball. Good play by Arvin.
2nd and 10 for the Arvin Bears. I formation, inside handoff, and not much there for the South High Rebels. Number 64 converging to make a tackle for South High. 64 is Seth Langston. He's 6'5", 255 pounds. The ball carrier for Arvin was number 2, Oscar Berseda. Lining up out the wingback slot back, 155 pounds. And South forced him to go inside. Reseda, 5 receptions, 169 yards, 1 touchdown. A great average, 33.8 yards per reception. Rosales, play action. Now he rolls to his right. Under heavy rush. Will it get rid of it? Tries reverses. Phil, it goes down for a big loss. That's about a 10 or 11 yard loss for the Arvin Bears. Punting time. 5 minutes to play here in the first quarter.
Mark, on that play, the South defense really did a great job of smelling out the pass play and put good pressure on Rosales. He scrambled around a little bit, really had nowhere to go. They really pinched him in there and made a great defensive stand.
He had trouble unloading that pass and simply had to eat it. Arvin punting here late in the first quarter. And the punt is partially blocked by South. And they will have excellent field position. Ball bounced around. And I don't know who has it. A couple of players converging on the ball from each team. I don't know if it hit off an Arvin player or what. Should be South High's ball.
Mark, 2 players that have been very exceptional for South this year, and even in tonight's game. Number 71, David Yost, and number 77, Mike Dallin. Both offensive and defensive linemen. They both go to about 6'4". One's 275, the other one's 255. 2 solid interior linemen for South, and they're going to be a factor tonight, those 2 players. Good size, excellent high school football players.
Now we saw them down on the field prior to the game, and both have great size, as you mentioned, about 6'4", 270. With 4:25 to play in the first quarter. South with Arvin, 44-yard line. Mayfield will throw, pretty good protection. Runs out of the pocket, puts his head down, knocked out of bounds. He will lose 1 or 2. Now we'll probably have a personal foul penalty. Maybe a late hit on the sidelines against the Arvin Bears. All the receivers were covered. PF against Arvin.
Well, Mark, and number 6, Miller was... Mark, we got Mayfield's rushing there. A great year so far. 26 attempts, 205 yards, 7.8 per average, and 1 TD for the year.
Despite the fact South High lost 1 or 2 yards in that play, they pick up 15 off the personal foul against the Arvin Bears. You just can't hit people hard 5 or 6 yards in the sidelines, especially in the other team's bench. You got to do hitting on the field. I've seen that in JC games and in high school games this year. Inside handoff and a gain of 2 or 3 yards. Number 42 for South High. That's Duff. Doubles as a linebacker. 170-pound. Perez on the tackle for Arvin. It'll be 2nd down and 6 for South High.
Mark, I was mentioning earlier, Mayfield to Brooke Miller should be a pretty good combination. Miller, the tight end, that's one player that Mayfield, when he rolls out right and left, should really looking for Miller, the big tight end for him. He's got a great pair of hands, and he could be a key player tonight.
Affirmation for the Rebels. Pitch back to Burrell. Nice cut in. Hit and dropped at the 26. Great pursuit by the Arvin Bears. Over there for Arvin, number 56. Able to cause him to turn in. That would be Jaime Duran, 180-pound linebacker. Just Cunningham was there to turn the play in. And Arvin was not fooled. It is 3rd and 7. 3:20 to play here in the first quarter.
Well, Mark, that was a poorly disguised option there. The defense was really there on the play. They saw it right away, and they did a great job of covering it. And in that situation, Mayfield rolls out to his left, but it was pretty well covered. Either he runs or gives it to Burrell. Neither one would have made any yards on the play.
Mayfield looking to throw. The pass is high and complete. Intended for Austin. And coverage over there by Briseda of Arvin.
Well, Mark, there's a situation, a good pass by Mayfield. You've got to have a receiver who wants to really go after that ball. That ball was there, but maybe heard some footsteps. Really didn't go up aggressively for that ball. So you want to have those receivers who really want to go after that ball and make the play. That was a catchable ball for South. So unfortunately, it's 4th down.
South High this year offensively, 1,195 yards. And Arvin offensively, 1,692. As South setting up for a field goal. Hobson to try it. Looks like it's good, but the penalty was called. The whistle was blown rather early. It's a motion penalty against South High. Well, bring it back another 5 yards.
Mark, that'll make it very difficult now for a field goal. That's going to take it back quite a bit there for South, but I'm assuming they're still going to try, but it's going to be a long kick. He's got a great leg because he'll need one to try to make this field goal. But again, it's an important possible 3 points for South. They need to try to stay in this football game, especially with the explosive ability of Arvin and Seth Cunningham.
It's a 47-yarder for Nick Hobson. It is long enough. And good! With plenty of room to spare. Number 20, Nick Hobson. A 47-yard field goal. It's Arvin 7, South High 3.
Where has he been, Mark? Bakersfield College and some pro teams could use him with that kick. I think he's got a leg, and we didn't know too much coming into the game that South High had that kind of kicker tonight, but he could be a big factor in this game, especially if the South defense can contain Cunningham somewhat today. They're not going to stop him, but if they can do a decent job of containing him, it could come down to some kicking. And in that situation, South High would definitely have the advantage. So here in the first quarter, Mark, with 2:49 left, 7-3. I thought South has done a fine job defensively after that first offensive series, where they're able to disguise a pitch out to Seth Cunningham, and then Rosales got Jess Cunningham deep down the left sideline, really had the defensive flow going to Seth Cunningham, and then he threw back down the left sideline to a wide open Jess Cunningham. Other than that one play, I thought the South defense has made some adjustments and have done a very good job here in the first quarter of containing Seth Cunningham.
I know that Hobson had gained over 200 yards. The ball is bobbled by Cunningham. Picks it up. Now cuts to the middle. Has an opening now. 25-30. 2 men to beat. 40. Midfield 50. Will he get caught from behind? He's dragged down. Talking about making something out of nothing. Cunningham to the South High 30-yard line. But a flag is down.
Well, Mark, he bobbled that, and what that did was he bobbled that kickoff, and what that did, it just gave the offensive return team just enough time to make some great blocks. He went up the middle, then he cut down the left sideline and made a great gain.
Seth this year receiving 6 for 132 yards, a 22-yard average. But running this year over 820 yards and a penalty against Arvin. They'll bring it back to their own 38-yard line.
Well, Mark, what they do is they bring it back from the point of the foul, so it goes 15 yards from that spot. So looked like a clipping penalty on Arvin on the kickoff return.
Well, Seth in the open field moves right to left so quickly. Somebody made an illegal block. 2:33 to play here in the first quarter. 7-3 Arvin. As the officials are talking things over. Arvin moving right to left here in the first quarter. South in the opposite direction. Arvin white and red, and South in the pale blue. Timeout Rebels. As they're down by only 7-3.
Well, Mark, Robert Dickerson, number 14 for South, showed great speed running down Seth Cunningham there. Seth probably a little bit tired, but Dickerson of South showing great speed, number 14, to run him down and saved a touchdown. But of course, there was a penalty on the play, wouldn't have counted anyway. But again, Arvin in great field position here on their own 38-yard line. So, they've got a good chance to, make a move here.
Chuck Chamberlain, the longtime head coach of Arvin, and Steve Falk, the head man at South High School. These schools have always played each other very, very tough, according to both coaches. I talked to them on Wednesday, and they said it's always been a very physical game. You wouldn't consider them geographical rivals, but for some reason, they play each other extremely intensely.
Well, I think, both schools are very even as far as population, Mark, and neither team has a real big squad as far as numbers go. So I think they're fairly evenly matched year in and year out.
Rafael Torres wide to the left for the Arvin Bears. As they're in I formation. Raul Rosales, the quarterback. Long count. Seth Cunningham bursts through the opening. Across the 40 to about the 43 off right tackle. You just give him a little bit of room and he can take it the distance. Or take it deep for some heavy real estate. Number 79 down for the Arvin Bears. That is Sam Cornell, 6'2", 360 pounds. That is 360.
Mark, he's the right tackle. You certainly don't want to get him injured or out for any length of time because he's a real key blocker for Seth Cunningham, especially when Seth runs wide. He really is a big load, and he really what we call decleats those defensive linemen at his size. So
Ruben Roach to the tackle on the other side is 6'3", 236. Their tight end, Ernie Cantu, is 6'4", 220 for the Arvin Bears. One of their guards, Oscar Bedoya, is 5'10", 220. The other guard, Frank Garza, 6 feet, 200. 79. Sitting up now. The biggest player on either team, either squad.
Well, Mark, so far in this football game with 2:23 left in the first quarter, I thought we might have a little bit more offense. Other than that one play by Arvin, the game's been pretty tight since then, 7-3.
Okay, Centennial, Stockdale, and South High 3-1 in non-league. It all competes in the Southwest Assembly League. North is 2-2 and West 0-3, but I think West should be 0-3-1, I believe. They tied last week.
Right. Either way, Mark, they're without a victory.
That's true. They didn't have a victory last year, did they?
I don't think they did. It's been 2 years, and I'll tell you, Mark, if anybody's due, West High is due. They made tremendous strides when you tie East Bakersfield, who was ranked in the top 10 in the central section. So West has made some tremendous strides. They gave Foothill a great game. They are definitely getting better.
Well, Cornell leaves the field on his own power. It's second down, 2nd and 6 for Arvin. I formation, middle of the field. Quarterback rolling to his right under heavy rush. That is knocked out of bounds at the 41-yard line. It'll be about 3rd and 7 as he was looking long downfield. Raul Rosales, and has the touchdown pass tonight to Jess Cunningham. 2:05 to play in the first quarter from South High School. It is Arvin 7 and the Rebels 3. The Rebel yell. Do I hear any Rebels yelling tonight?
Well, Mark, that was great coverage by Dan Lomax for South High, the cornerback. Really did a great job in smothering Cunningham.
Burrell heads up on Cunningham. Ball given to Braceda to the 40, goes to the outside, and held is swarmed over by the Rebels and knocked out of bounds. 4th down, punting time for the Arvin Bears. Oscar Braceda looking for a block from Jess Cunningham, could not quite get it, and South pursued very well.
Well, Mark Miller, the offensive tight end, also doubles as a outside linebacker for South High, came up and really did a great job of containing that play and making the running back go wider than he wanted to. Basically just ran him out of bounds. It was great pursuit by South High to keep Arvin from getting a first down there. The Arvin defense has really picked up since that first offensive series by Arvin.
Brooke Miller, 6'5", 250. And the punt comes to South High across the 20 to about the 27-yard line.
Mark, what I meant to say, the South defense has really picked up since that first offensive series by Arvin. They've done a much better job here in containing Cunningham and putting good pressure on Rosales, the quarterback. They've done a very fine job.
Hobson took the punt for South High. He doubles as a running back and has a 47-yard field goal tonight. 1:26 to play here in the first quarter. South High School in their own territory. Austin wide to the right. Split backs behind Mayfield. Looking to the side for Austin. Lost it out of bounds. The type of play where he had to weave under the ball, and the ball was thrown too far to the right, out of bounds. Even if he would have made a fantastic catch, he would have been 5 or 6 yards along the sidelines.
Well, Mark, Mayfield has been under some heavy duress in this football game, and I thought he took a 3-step drop, but what he did on that, Mark, is he threw the ball before he needed to. He anticipated the rush coming, and there was not that much pressure there. And so what Arvin's been able to do is they've been able to pressure him, and he's getting rid of the ball before he needs to, and that time he just kind of rushed the ball and was thrown out of bounds.
Receivers to each side. Mayfield to Burrell. Puts his head down. Gets up to about the 34-yard line, then driven back by the Arvin Bears. Perez, Jose Perez, number 50, 6'1", 210-pounder. Number 72 over there. Fernando Rivas, number 56, Jaime Duran, 5'11", 180. So team defense employed by the Arvin Bears tonight. For South High, 3rd and 4 as we're beginning to close out this first quarter. Two receivers wide to left, ball on the right hash mark. Mayfield, there's a draw. I think to Hobson. Arvin stuffs him for a loss. It'll be 4th down for the Rebels. 72 there. Fernando Rivas And 78, Santos Rodriguez. Santos Rodriguez, number 78.
Again, Mark, South trying to run in between the tackles, and really, Arvin High is just doing a great job defensively with her quickness.
Hobson this year, 257 yards on the ground, a 6.4 average and a couple of touchdowns. And he is punting now for South at his own 20. Here comes the rush, gets it off. Seth Cunningham, closest to it, bounces by him, takes a rebel bounce. 5, 10, 15, about 18 yards. So maybe not a good decision by Seth Cunningham to allow that to bounce.
Well, Mark, that was a tough catch there because the ball was dipping quickly, and it was a low kick, and I don't think he thought it would bounce, get that kind of roll, but it was very much of a gamble for him to try to catch that ball. And a 7-3 lead, your mom's better off to let the ball go.
Like I said, he's Seth Cunningham.
Right.
End of the first quarter, the score is Arvin 7, South 3, and you're watching the high school football game of the week exclusively on CNN SI, Time Warner Cable, Channel 52.
Holiday Ford Lincoln Mercury is clearing out the 98s. Now we have $1,000 cash back, plus 0.9% financing on Escorts, Contours, Mystiques, Tracers, and Rangers. Now that's real savings. How about a red carpet lease on a new 98 Explorer? Come in and buy one, and the first payment up to $500 is on us. Don't make a wrong turn. Make the turn for Lerdo Highway in Shafter. We're easy to get to from both the 5 and 99 freeways. Say habla español.
Come to Holiday.
The pass from Rosales to Braceda, good for the first down for the Arvin Bears as they're at their own 44-yard line, 1st and 10. Arvin leads at 7-3 over South High. South High scoring on a 47-yard field goal by Nick Hobson. And Arvin scoring on a pass from Rosales to Jess Cunningham, which traveled the reception and run about 68 yards, 67 yards for the Arvin Bears. That was very early in the game. Jess Cunningham wide to the right for Arvin. Ball on the left hash mark. I formation behind Raul Rosales. Seth the ball. Going to the left side. Burst of speed across midfield. 45 knocked out of bounds. They'll be close to the first down marker. Maybe shy. He's always ready to explode. He has such tremendous acceleration.
Right. He's the quickest back we've seen this year, Mark. It's just the first 5 to 10 yards is just a tremendous explosion. But more than that, Mark, he just has an innate ability to see the open field. He's got great vision. And he reminds you a little bit of Barry Sanders when he gets to the outside. He's got great cutback ability, but he also cuts great to the outside, too. Just great acceleration.
Of course, when he sees that spot, he can get there very quickly. Split backs behind Rosales. Ball given to the other runner through. I think that's Frank Segura, number 11. Quick opener. He has a first down, or close to it. He's to about the 35-yard line. They will mark it at the 36. It'll be 2nd and short, 2nd and 2 for Arvin. So Cunningham is lined up on the right in the split back formation. And of course the team's always aware of Cunningham. And they give the ball to the other guy. So mix it up just a bit. Now they're back in the I formation. Segura will be blocking for Cunningham. Both the running backs are rather small but very quick. Seth on a delay. Across the 35 to about the 33, 1st and 10 for Arvin.
Well, Mark, we talked about the quickness of Seth Cunningham. He's getting great blocking from the fullback number 11, Segura, but also the offensive line for Arvin. You talked about some of these players earlier. They're just doing a great job of really opening up the interior of the South defense. And it doesn't take Seth much. All you have to do is open up a little spot for him, a little seam, and he's through it quickly. He's got such great acceleration.
You don't have to hold your block that long. Rosales, spin out right, looking to throw it. Now flush out of the pocket. He better get rid of it. He goes down, just throws it away. They want intentional grounding, but the officials are not calling anything. And hot pursuit for South High, number 77, one of the big guys. And that is Matt Dowling, 6'4", 255. Rosales looking downfield. They had a hand on him. They're saying he tried to throw the ball downfield, but he threw it to the South High sideline.
Also, Mark, number 64, Seth Langston was in on the tackle too, so great pursuit by the South defense. They're doing a much better job after that first offensive series by Arvin of really putting pressure on Rosales, the quarterback. He's not getting the kind of time that he had earlier to go deep.
Seth Langston, 9:42 to play in the first half. Rosales play action. The pass complete to the 25-yard line, called incomplete. At the ground. Pass intended for the tight end.
Excuse me, Mark. Again, number 64, the left defensive end for South. Seth Langston again, number 64, putting pressure on Rosales again. When he rolls out to a right, Langston does a great job of getting out there. He's got great speed for a big man.
All right, Cantu, the intended receiver, I think he should have had it. Third down for Arvin. Seth Cunningham this year, total of 88 points. That should be 14 touchdowns for him, for Seth. 14 this year, not 2. He had 6 in one game.
Right.
14 in 4 games coming in. 9:33 to play in the first half. High formation for the Bears, 3rd and 10. Rosales to Braceda, to the 30. 25, has the first down, down the sidelines. He will go the distance. Touchdown, Arvin Bears.
Mark, that was just a great run there. He went down the left sideline, and it looked like some of the defenders tried to push him out of bounds, and they kind of stopped playing defense. And he never went out of bounds. He kept his balance, tiptoed down the left sideline, and was in for the score. Again, Arvin showing tremendous speed and quickness, and right so far in this football game, they're just a little bit too quick for the South High Rebel defense.
Braceda lining up in the slot right, takes a reverse, goes left side, and takes it a distance from over 30 yards away. Showing tremendous speed and footwork along the left sidelines. PAT has blocked. And we have a 13-3 game with 9:23 to play in the first half.
Well, Mark, you got Braceda, tremendous speed and quickness. You got Segura, good speed from the fullback position, and you have, of course, you have Seth Cunningham, number 1, the tailback. Then you got Jess Cunningham, the split in. So your flankers split in, both running backs, all of them are about the same size, about 160 to 165 with tremendous speed. And that's really the difference in this football game so far, whereas the skilled players of Arvin are just a little bit quicker than what South can handle defensively. South's done a good job when Arvin is contained between the tackles, but when Arvin gets outside into the flat, that's when they can use that great speed of theirs, and that's really when they break down that South High defense. So we've got here with 9:23 in the halftime, we've got 13-3. The Arvin High Bears, Mark, looking to go 5-0, Mark. 5-zip.
When you think of Arvin over the past couple of years, they've always had a lot of speed when you consider their skill players, whether it's the running backs or the wide receivers or even the quarterbacks. It seems like in recent years they've had some big linemen, don't have a lot of depth, but have had outstanding speed at the running back position and also at the skill positions. And they have an advantage over a lot of teams when they play.
Mark, that's one of the reasons why Arvin's ranked very highly rushing this year, one of the best in Kern County.
Oh, definitely. Kick comes to Burrell. I think the fumble is after he was down across the 32, about the 32-yard line. They will mark it at the 30, 1st and 10 for South. 13-3 Arvin.
Well, Mark, South offensively here really has to try to get the ball deep to some of their receivers, maybe look to Miller to tie it in a little bit. They need to get something in the air. They've been running the football up the middle a lot. Haven't been very successful. It's taken a lot of time off the clock. They don't really have the speed or the size to really overpower Arvin. So maybe what they ought to be looking for now is maybe put that ball up in the air a little bit. Throw the football. Mayfield's an experienced quarterback. See what they can do in the air.
And we have Austin. And Burrell wide to the left. Ball in the backfield. And Arvin wasn't fooled by it. It'll be 2nd and 10 for South. Arvin with more speed to the outside than the Rebels tonight, as Arvin has been able to come up with a couple of big plays for touchdowns. Mayfield looking toward the sideline.
Well, Mark, they've been very determined to run the football tonight, South. And, you know, they don't want to stray from their game plan, which is run the football and try to dominate this game on the ground to keep the ball away from the Arvin offense. But so far has not been effective for South running between the tackles. Arvin just a little smaller but quicker on defense and pursues so well.
Mayfield will throw. The pass incomplete. That goes over the head of Dickerson. Robert Dickerson, 170-pound senior. He's thrown a lot of his passes too high tonight. The look in patterns, the short flags. 8:30 to play, 13-3 in favor of Arvin. And South looking for some answers at 3rd and 9. Mayfield this year, 23 of 56 passing, 376 yards and 3 touchdowns. Split backs behind Mayfield. South high in their own territory. Mayfield will throw it, lofts it deep, incomplete. Double coverage on the other side. There's a ball intended for Austin.
Well, Mark,
down.
Yeah, Mark, one of the problems Mayfield's having tonight is that earlier in the game he's been pressured defensively. And now he's taking a 3-step drop, and he's hurrying every pass. He's not even rushed sometimes. But in a quarterback's mind, when you hit him early in the game, Mark, you put a lot of pressure on him early in the first quarter, they get a little bit jittery the rest of the game. They start hurrying their passes. Right now, they have him a little bit disorganized right now, the Arvin defense. They've got a lot of pressure on him. He's a little bit rattled, and he's getting rid of the ball quicker than he wants to. He's not reading the defense properly. He's just throwing the ball up and getting rid of it.
That's what the defense used to do to Jim Everett when he was quarterback of the Los Angeles Rams and they were in L.A.
They did more than that to Jim.
The ball bounces sideways. And they'll be at their own 45-yard line. With 8:14 to play in the first half, the Arvin Bears is leading 13-3 over the South High Rebels at Rebel Stadium. And the Rebels are beginning to yell.
Well, Mark, of course, when you think of Everett, you think of the heyday of the Los Angeles Rams when they were definitely a power in the NFC West, right?
I just think of the time when he was on a sports talk show and he floored the talk show host. I just loved it.
Jim Rohn.
High formation. Raul Rosales, the quarterback for Arvin. Number 22 refused to go down across the 45 to the 47-yard line. Victor Segoviano, 182-pound junior. I think his first carry of the night. Victor Segoviano. Yeah, that's a nice pickup. 2nd and 3 for Arvin.
Mark, no matter who Arvin brings in tonight offensively, they all seem to have good speed, good quickness, and they all run hard. It's amazing. It's just like one player after another they bring in. They're all very effective running the football.
Cornell back in the ball game for Arvin at left tackle number 79. He was shaken up earlier. Seth Cunningham slips a couple of tackles across midfield. It depends on where his knee touched down as to whether they would give him the first down or not. He was trying to squirm his way into the defensive backfield. They're marking it right at midfield. Wave off the flag. They just want to wave to the camera, I know. 1st and 10 for the Arvin Bears, 7-3-2 to play in the first half.
Well, Mark, Arvin on the move again here, reaching midfield with 7:25 left in the first half. I think they can run the football here and still have plenty of time to score if you're Arvin. There's no reason to panic here. They've got plenty of time, and another score here before halftime would really put South in some trouble starting the second half.
Segoviano at fullback, Cunningham at tailback behind Rosales, 1st and 10. Rosales looking to the left, the pass high and complete. Intended for Jess Cunningham. He was going in. The pass was thrown outside and way too high. He had to climb a couple of ladders for that one, like the two we had to climb tonight.
Well, Mark,
of course, he was thrown to Shaq O'Neal. It'd be a nice pass.
You got that right.
Rosales, a nice percentage this year, 20 of 39, 398 yards and 5 touchdowns.
He's been very efficient.
Got a good arm.
He's been very efficient this year, but I think a lot of that's set up by the great running of Seth Cunningham.
You always got to have a compliment, that's for sure. Crusade in motion. Cunningham inside across midfield to the 48. Miller making the tackle. So South was not fooled by that play. Remember, Braseda scored on a 30-plus yard touchdown run just moments ago. And that was a similar play that gave the ball to Cunningham cutting inside.
Well, Mark, two players have done an outstanding job for South High tonight defensively. Langston, the left defensive end, and Miller, the linebacker, have been very outstanding tonight, really trying to put the clamps on Cunningham as best they can. But, of course, Seth, you can stop him 2 or 3 times, and then he sees an open, he can dart 60 yards for a score. So it's very demoralizing for a defense, especially when you contain a guy, and then the next play can go all the way.
The South defense is so close to the line of scrimmage, though. Rosales rolling to his right, looking long downfield for Jess Cunningham. And a flag is down, probably personal foul against South, as the pass was on the mark, and Jess was bumped as he was going up for the ball. Check that. Number 2, Oscar Baceda was bumped. But I'm sure it's a personal foul against the Rebels, as he was hit when the ball was in the air, and it was catchable. A fine throw by Raul Rosales. Now they don't mark it on the spot. They mark it 15 yards from the line of scrimmage. Pass interference against the Rebels. Arvin's ball at the South High 34-yard line. 6:13 on the clock in the first half. 13-3 in favor of Arvin. On CNN SI, Time Warner Cable, Channel 52. Mark with Dennis Heffernan.
Well, Mark, Lomax and Cedar were both back there, but again, a little bump right before the ball was delivered, and I thought it was a good call by the official.
Seth Cunningham cuts back 35-30, slips a tackle 25-20, dives forward to about the 16-yard line.
Well, Mark, he gets down the left sideline, and he just has tremendous explosion and toughness and balance. And I think a lot of it's balance because, he's not real big, but he's very strong. But you cannot just arm tackle him. Unless you get a good shoulder into Seth Cunningham, he just bounces off the receivers. The defensive linemen and linebackers. He's got tremendous balance. You really got to tackle him and wrap him up with both hands.
And it's very difficult to pop him, too, because he's so elusive. 1st and 10. Segoviano, the ball carrier, to about the 15-yard line on first down. 5:40 to play in the first half. Arvin mounting another drive as they lead it by 10, 13-3.
Well, Mark, we talked earlier about Arvin's offense here. If they score again before halftime, really puts South in a lot of pressure in the second half where they have to come out throwing. So South really needs to stiffen up here defensively and keep him out of the end zone.
Second and 8, Seth Cunningham tries to squirm his way to the 10-yard line. Caught at the 11. Number 35 making the tackle for South High. Number 35 is Marcos Rivera, 175-pound senior. They're at the 12-yard line. 3rd and 6 for Arvin. They're allowing the clock to run. Just Cunningham wide to the left. Bersleda, slot right for the Arvin Bears. Segoviano. Seth Cunningham in the backfield behind Raul Rosales. Cunningham, nice blocking up front to the 5. Dives to the end zone. He'll be just shy. Great interior blocking by Arvin. And Seth follows his blocker so well.
Marky follows his blockers well, and but he just got such great quickness. And like I said earlier, you don't have to sustain your block very long with him. He's so explosive. He hits that hole so quickly. He's right on the back of his offensive lineman. That's how quick he gets to that line of scrimmage. And, if you're not ready, he runs right by you. You've got to be ready on every play. He's so quick.
It's 1st and goal for the Arvin Bears. Cunningham, the ball carrier, up to the right side. Touchdown, Arvin!
Well, Mark, he just went off tackle there. But, now they were very effective in the first quarter, Arvin going wide, Mark. And you know what that did? That loosened up the defense of the South because they were boxed in, 7, 8 men at the line of scrimmage. Now what they're doing, as they're loosened up a little bit because they've been going wide and effectively, South's trying to cover the wide out areas of the field, the flat areas. Now Arvin's punching the ball up the middle because they're playing much looser on the defensive line. So now they can go wide on him. And when South floods the flat area with defensive men to stop Cunningham to go wide, now they go between the tackles and have been successful. So either way, it's very difficult to stop that team speed of Arvin tonight. They've been effective no matter who carries the ball, but especially Seth Cunningham.
Well, it's been difficult to stop them all this year. 1,900 yards coming in. They're over 2,000 now. Seth, 825 on the ground coming into the game. As he tries to close in on 1,000 yards through 5 games this year. And I think he'll do it before this night is out, but it depends on how long he will play tonight. Or if the game tightens up in the second half. 19-3 in favor of the Bears, as they may look to try a 2-point conversion here.
Well, Mark, the way he's running tonight, he could have a 200-yard rushing game. I mean, here in the first half, He's right around the 100-yard mark, probably a little bit over 100 yards in the first half alone. So he's looking for another big gain tonight. And unless things change drastically, you're going to see him probably with over 200 yards rushing for tonight. So he will hit over that 1,000-yard mark before the league season even starts.
Well, they've been averaging over 200 yards for the first 4 games. Rosales rolling to his right, looks into the end zone. The pass complete, but a flag is down. And the pass was caught by number 85, but tied in, Ernie Cantu, 220-pounder.
Mark, the officials are discussing the play here. There obviously was a penalty, and it looks to be on Arvin there, so it's going to nullify the conversion there. Illegal men downfield. Rolled out. Somebody probably didn't sustain his block long enough. Interior lineman got down more than 5 yards down the field, and of course it's being called back. So another attempt by Arvin here. 2-point conversion again, it looks like. They're going for 2, Mark. I'm assuming because it's 19-3. They'd like to get to 21, an even number there. And so that's probably the reason why they're doing it. But again, South High is really going to have to get some offense going here before the halftime winds down if they want to get back in this football game.
Just Cunningham wide to the right for Arvin. Slot is Bruseda. Rosales rolling to his right, looking for the ends on the pass. Incomplete. Threw it behind the intended receiver. South High, their defenders were closer to the ball than the intended receiver for Arvin. 19-3, 4:19 to play in the first half in favor of the Arvin Bears over South High. As the Rebels need to get something going here in front of their home crowd.
Well, last week, Mark, South came into this game 3-1, and after that initial opening loss to Santa Maria, they've been very consistent this year. They gave up 34 points in the third quarter at Santa Maria, and other than that, they played very good defense this year. And last week, they were trailing Foothill 21-9 at halftime, came back and won 28-21. They held Foothill scoreless in the second half, so the defense has played well this year. I am a little surprised tonight that Arvin's been able to manhandle them here in the first half with a 19-3 lead. I thought that South would come out, especially playing at home, be a little bit better defensively. But Seth Cunningham, he makes you look bad no matter who you are. He's so tremendously quick. There's really no defense for that speed.
And Arvin continues along this year as they look for win number 5 without a loss. It's a short kick by number 25, Rafael Torres. Comes to Hobson, across the 20-25, and he's down. Arvin doing a good job on special teams, offensively and defensively. South High was very strong in the second half last week against Foothill. And they will have to be strong tonight against the Arvin Bears, but there's plenty of time to score here late in the second quarter.
I think there's one main difference. So Foothill doesn't have Seth Cunningham, and the kind of speed and the kind of pressure, Mark, he breaks down a defense so easily, and you can stop, make 1 or 2 good stops on, then on third down he can make a big play. So he really breaks the heart of a defense. He's very difficult to contain.
Mayfield fumbles the snap and falls on it at his own 23-yard line.
Well, Mark, I think Mayfield had the right idea there, except there was a fumble. But I think what South's going to try to do here, they really can't worry about being too conservative here behind 19-3 with a little over 3 minutes left at halftime. They have to put that ball in the air. They've got some fine receivers, some great speed. And let's open this game up a little bit. Let's get that ball down deep. There's not a lot of time. Let's see if we can get a score here before halftime, get back in the football game.
Dickerson wide to the left for South, covered by Just Cunningham. 3:35 to play in the first half. Mayfield rolling to his left. Good protection, fires it over the middle. Roberson complete at the 40, cuts back 31-yard line. 1st and 10 for South High inside Arvin territory. And Roberson was wide open. Number 14.
Mark, that was about a 45-yard pass completion there. And as I noted, Mark, he's got some good receivers. They can get deep. Arvin was not expecting a pass there. He was wide open in the middle of the field. He ran a slant over the middle, wide open. And that's what they have to do. A big play like that, get it back in this football game if they can score here. Let's open the game up. Let's get some scoring if you're South High.
Roberson has not seen a lot of playing time tonight. He's flanked wide left once again. Split backs behind Mayfield. Burrell, the ball carrier, hit and dropped at the line of scrimmage, or maybe gets about 1 yard out of it. but Arvin has been very tough against the run tonight. The Arvin Bears have a pretty good defense. They're not just all about Seth Cunningham.
Well, I think when you come into the game unbeaten, I think in any football team who's unbeaten always can play both sides of the football. You know, Seth gets most of the publicity on the offensive end because, as you noted, Mark, earlier, they're one of the top rushing teams in the whole central section. But they've done a great job defensively. Anytime you're unbeaten, you're going to have to play both sides. And they've done a good job tonight. They have good team speed on both sides of the football.
We'll call it 2nd and 9 for South High. Mayfield play action over the middle. Overthrown, intended for Miller. And the closest player to it was number 4, Jason Grider of Arvin.
Well, Mayfield, Mark, tonight has had a little bit of a problem of overthrowing his receivers. That can be dangerous because you overthrow too many of them, they can be picked off. He needs to take a little bit more time. Again, he had time to throw, but he rushed it again a little bit. And when he rushes the ball, he tends to overthrow his receivers. And it's not easy to overthrow Miller. You're tied in. He's over 6 foot. So, you know, there's no reason to be overthrowing him.
He's about 6'4". By the way, Jason Grider, the nephew of Dallas Grider, the head coach at Bakersfield College. I saw him at the rodeo last week. Singer running back behind Mayfield to throw. The pass complete. Oh, right in the hands of Miller this time. Tried to run with it before he caught the ball incomplete.
Well, maybe that's the problem why he throws above Miller's head. When he throws at him, he drops it. So we got to find out a happy medium here. You throw it above his head and let him go up and catch with his hands, or do you hit him in the breadbasket and have him drop it? Which do you do, Mark?
Well, I anticipated a completion, but evidently I was wrong. 4th down, Hobson. Mr. Field goal coming in for South High.
Mark, that was a touchdown almost there for Knott with the drop pass.
It's about a 46-yarder. Line drives this one. His 47-yarder was beautiful from the other side. This one, just a line drive, soccer-style kick. And no points for the South High Rebels as they're down 19-3 with 2:14 to play in the first half.
Well, Mark, I seriously question that kind of call. You're behind 19-3. You're trying to kick a field goal of over 40 yards. You need a touchdown there. And he made the last one, but it's not at a high school level to try to kick a field goal that distance. And what would 19-6 do for him with the kind of offense that Seth Cunningham has? So I don't care what anybody else says. They should be going. That was their 4th and 9. Go for a touchdown there. Let's score.
And Arvin has a very good offense, averaging 33 points a game. Inside opener to number 11. Good yardage for Arvin, Frank Segura. That's the second quick hitter he's had tonight. Both of them been about 9 or 10 yards as a first down there. Across the 32, about the 32.
Well, Mark, you know, one of the things is that even if you go for the first down there and you don't make it, Arvin's still backed up deep in their own territory. You've got to show your offense you've got confidence in them. That was the situation where you go for the first down, go for the score.
Of course, you got to catch the ball when it's thrown to you. It's a hand fumble. Does South High come up with it? Yes, they do. Big break for the Rebels. Now the Rebels can yell.
Well, Mark, that was Miller came up with that ball. He could grab the ball when it's on the ground. He got that ball. First down.
Well, he's a very good defensive player. First down and 10 for South. Outside the Arvin 33-yard line. Mishandle in the backfield of the Arvin Bears. And really a very critical turnover for them. They did it at 19-3. That's the time when you don't want to fumble. Roberson wide to the left for South High. I formation behind Mayfield. South has a golden opportunity. Should I say a blue opportunity. Mayfield will throw it over the middle. It is incomplete. And it should have been caught by Austin, number 1. Right in his hands. He bobbled the ball around. Then a flag came in the other direction. And the calling interference against Arvin.
You know, Mark, I'm not quite sure I saw any interference there. It looked like the ball was tipped by Austin. He just didn't make the catch. It looked like another receiver crisscrossed and tried to grab the ball, but I didn't see any kind of defensive pass interference in that situation. It looked like the ball initially hit the South High offensive man before the defensive man ever even laid a hand on him. So I'm not sure about that call. A lot of things I'm not sure about tonight. But anyway, it's first down for South High.
That ball definitely should have been caught. 1:39 to play. 1st and 10 for the Rebels. Burrell behind Mayfield. There's a draw. Burrell going to the right side. 20-15. Thrown out of bounds at a 13-yard line. The Arvin Bears coming out, putting the claw attack to him.
Well, again,
Throwing
Mark,
him down to the turf.
you got that right. Again, Mark, that was an inside draw, and it looked like there was some room up the middle. And instead of running up the middle where he might have had some more room to run, he tries to run to the outside, Burrell. And in that situation, the quickness of the Arvin defense made the tackle. So probably a mistake there by the running back. On an inside draw, you want to try to run straight up the field, use less time on the clock. And, you know, the fastest way to the end zone, Mark, is north-south. You don't want to go wide.
That's what they say. 1:09 to play in the first half. Split back behind Mayfield as South is down 19-3. Mayfield looking for the end zone, flips it up high. It is caught! Touchdown, South High!
Well, Mark, that was just a little pass on the flat, kind of an alley-oop pass. Austin made a great catch, just went up and took the ball away from the defensive back. Really, in that situation, Arvin should be trying to knock that ball down. Defensive back is always taught, Mark, to knock the ball down instead of trying to go up there and intercept the ball. In that case, it cost him. He should have knocked the ball down. Austin just outfought him for the ball.
He was trying to pick the ball off. Like you said, should have knocked it down. PAT is wide to the right, no good. 19-9 in favor of Arvin. 56 seconds to play here in the first half.
Well, Mark, that was Jason Grider over there, number 4. And again, on that situation, you know, he had a beat on the ball because he really read the play perfectly. It was just a 10-yard down and over the middle, and he was right there playing left corner. But what happened when the ball went in the air, he went up to try to make the interception, and Austin just made a great catch. You've got to knock that ball down in that situation, especially if the offensive man makes the reception, it's a touchdown. I mean, so he made a little bit of a mental mistake there by Grider, but he's played a fine game. But again, you could say Austin made a great play, which he did. That's the kind of situation South needed, Mark. They needed to go for it to get back in this football game. Now we got 19-9, and we've got a game here, you know, at halftime, and that's what we want.
Well, Arvin turned the ball over at a very inopportune time for them, off a handoff, deep in their own territory, and South High took advantage of it. So instead of it being 19-3, it's 19-9. And Chuck Chamberlain will mention that to his team, I'm sure, at halftime. They played a very good first half of that turnover there. Was able to get South High at least mentally back into the ball game. And they're only down by 10 points. There's a squib kick. It's fumbled by Arvin. Picked up by Seth Cunningham. Going to his left. Scrambles around up to about the 29-yard line. Did you know that Chuck Chamberlain, his jacket and mine are almost identical in color?
Well, Mark, I do know one thing about Chuck Chamberlain. He's done a fine job here at Arvin for many, many years, been the head coach, and just a super guy. And the players really like him and respect him. And what a program he's built over the years at Arvin High. You got to give him a lot of credit. Stability, credibility out there, and it's just a fine program.
He gets a lot out of his players, that's for sure. They always have a good-looking offense, too, every year. Straight handoff across the 30 to the 33. A tough team to beat, that's for sure.
Well, Mark, I think Arvin learned their lesson. Now they've got 2 hands on the football, just trying to run out the clock here. They don't want any more mistakes before halftime. With under 40 seconds to go at halftime, it looks like it's going to be 19-9 at halftime. So I think Arvin, in this situation, with their I formation, just going to try to run out the clock here.
Robert Zalls pitch back to Seth Cunningham, left side. Up to about the 40-yard line. Looked to be a first down for the Arvin Bears. And they say, move the chains.
Well, Mark, we've had a very exciting first half here. I thought the game started out great with, you know, the pass from Rosales to Cunningham, Jess Cunningham. And after that, it kind of had a little bit of a lull. The second quarter's been very exciting. Both teams, you know, having some good plays, having their moments. Now we come into halftime. 19-9, and really anything can happen in the second half. South had the same situation last week. They were trailing by more against Foothill, 21-7. So we'll have to see what South can do. I think the key still will be how do you contain Seth Cunningham, because he just never seems to get tired. And unless you can contain him, I don't think that South's going to win this football game, but you never know. That'll be the key at halftime. How do we put the clamps or contain Seth Cunningham?
Well, that was a very key touchdown for South High just moments ago. Like I said, instead of being down 19-3, they're only down by 10 points, so they're mathematically very much in the game and also emotionally. So a critical turnover against Arvin And South High going to the locker room, not being down by that much, so they have to feel pretty good about that, despite the fact they've been outplayed by Arvin for a couple of quarters.
Well, I would agree. So, like I said, we've got a game, and I think the second half promises to be a barn burner. I really believe if Mayfield, he's going to have to be throwing the ball a little bit in the second half. I think he can be effective.
I haven't given David Brown credit for being the center for Arvin tonight, number 53. Resolves to throw from the shotgun. Plenty of time. Throws it deep out there. It is intercepted by South High. Ball intended for Braceda. Number 10 coming away with it. And that Ben Sida. 5 seconds on the clock. So Ben has a pick for the Rebels tonight.
Well, that wasn't really a bad play there. I think I can understand what Arvin's doing. That's just like a punt. You want to throw that ball down there. Maybe your receiver can make a big play. If not, even if they intercept it, it's just like a punt. So it really didn't hurt Arvin there. South High on their own 26-yard line starts first and 10 with only 5 seconds at halftime. So that really wasn't much of a gamble there. And actually, it wasn't a bad play by Arvin because who knows, your receiver might make a big play and get another touchdown right before halftime, really break the backs of South.
This should be the last play of the first half. Mayfield, two receivers to the left side. Looking right now. And the pass complete. Looked like momentarily to Austin. He is knocked hard. He bounces up. And the defensive player seems to be more shaken up than him.
That was Jason Grider over there. He really took a hit.
Woo! After 2 quarters from Rebel Stadium on the campus of South High. It's Arvin 19, South High 9. And you're watching the high school football game of the week exclusively on CNN SI, Time Warner Cable, Channel 52.
Holiday Ford Lincoln Mercury is clearing out the 98s. Now we have $1,000 cash back, plus 0.9% financing on Escorts, Contours, Mystiques, Tracers, and Rangers. Now that's real savings. How about a red carpet lease on a new 98 Explorer? Come in and buy one, and the first payment up to $500 is on us. Don't make a wrong turn. Make the turn for Lerdo Highway in Shafter. We're easy to get to from both the 5 and 99 freeways. Say habla español.
Come to Holiday.
Over the last 60 years, Chan Younger has helped thousands of accident victims. Oil field work is some of the most dangerous work around. Many people are seriously injured or killed as a result of faulty equipment and poor safety training. We didn't want this to continue, so we fought until changes in oil field safety were made. Accidents still happen, and when they do, we'll be there for you.
Has this ever happened to one of your favorite tapes? How about this? Parts of this tape are damaged forever. Before this happens to your favorite video or home movie, call Time Warner Productions. Time Warner Productions specializes in quality duplications, foreign conversions, and repairs. So before your favorite video cassette becomes your pet's next meal, preserve it by calling Time Warner Productions and get it duplicated. Call 322-1941.
It is at halftime tonight from Rebel Stadium on the campus of South High. And South High only 9, Arvin 19. Arvin connected first on a long pass play from Raul Rosales to Jess Cunningham. That was good for about 67 yards. Seth Cunningham had a 35-yard run on Arvin's next possession. They had to punt. Hobson for South connects on a 47-yard field goal to make it 7-3. That's the way it stood after 1.5. Cunningham did his thing on an early series in the second quarter. Oscar Braceda scored on a 31-yard reverse for Arvin to make it Arvin 13 and South High 3. Roberson had a long reception for South High, 45 yards. That drive bogged down for South late in the second quarter, but a big turnover against Arvin inside the 30-yard line off a handoff. South High is able to take advantage of that on a fine pass from Mayfield to Austin for their second touchdown. Their first touchdown. 19-9 at the half, but it has been a game that has been dominated by Arvin, but South is still in it.
Well, they certainly are, Mark, and I think even when you look at Arvin's first score tonight, it was still set up by the run of Seth Cunningham. He goes as an option to the right, a sweep to the right. It was a deceptive play. The defense moved over to the left, and then Jess Cunningham went down the left sidelines, and then he was able to catch the nice touchdown pass from Rosales. So again, even when Seth Cunningham doesn't get the ball, he is a factor because of his run ability. You know, the defense is so locked into stopping him, it opens up the passing game for Arvin. I think Arvin, in the second half, Mark, will try to keep the ball on the ground, use some of the clock. They've got a great runner in Cunningham, so there's no reason to throw the ball a lot unless you really need to. I think for South High, though, they're not going to be able to run the ball consistently. They like to run between the tackles, but Arvin's defense is much quicker, and they're able to pursue very well. I think South's going to have to open up a little bit more in the second half to get back in the game, and I think you're going to see Mayfield throw the ball more to his wideouts in the second half.
Arvin is 4-0 coming into the game. South High 3-1. It should be a great second half. 19-9 in favor of the Arvin Bears after 2 quarters. Now let's enjoy the halftime activities.
Mark, I always do.
A marching band. Okay, the score at halftime from South High School, Arvin 19, South 9. You're watching the high school football game of the week exclusively on CNN SI, Time Warner Cable, Channel 52.
Always get the names and addresses of witnesses. Don't rely on busy police to do this for you. If injured, be sure to have a medical examination. Talk to an experienced lawyer before you talk to the insurance adjusters. If you'd like to know more, call or come by Shane Younger today and pick up your copy of the accident guide.
Shane Younger. When you need us, we'll be there. We have been for over 60 years.
Harold, this tape from Greece doesn't play.
Around the world, there are many different formats for VHS tapes. So if you have problems with a tape from a foreign country, call Time Warner Productions. For $29.95, Time Warner Productions can convert the tape to a format that plays in your home VCR, or change your tape to any format from around the world. From quality copies of home videos, large quantity duplications,
Harold, the tape's broken,
or tape repair, Time Warner Productions is your best choice for video services.
Holiday Ford Lincoln Mercury is clearing out the 98s. Now we have $1,000 cash back, plus 0.9% financing on Escorts, Contours, Mystiques, Tracers, and Rangers. Now that's real savings. How about a red carpet lease on a new 98 Explorer? Come in and buy one, and the first payment up to $500 is on us. Don't make a wrong turn. Make the turn for Lerdo Highway in Shafter. We're easy to get to from both the 5 and 99 freeways. Say habla español.
Come to Holiday.
Score at halftime from South High School. It is Arvin 19 and South High 9. Rebels scored the last touchdown in the first half thanks to a turnover by Arvin as they fumbled the snap in their backfield. Mayfield hit Austin for a touchdown on a play that we thought the Arvin defender should have knocked the ball down. He went up for the INT and did not come away with it. So the Rebels still in the game. Remember, they were very strong last week when they beat Foothill. And they're 3-1 coming in. Arvin at 4-0. South competes in the Southwest Assembly League. Arvin in the South Dakota League this year. But Arvin has been in the Assembly Division many times in the past. As the ball's kicked off to South High and taken across the 25 to the 26. Last time Arvin was in the South Dakota League was in the early 90s. And they won the Dakota Division Football Championship. They've been competing in the Southeast Assembly League the last couple of years. And of course, they may move back one of these years. South offensively. DC Austin, wide receiver number 1, had that touchdown pass to Scotty Burrell, number 4, tailback, doubles on defense. Miller, tight end, plays some linebacker on defense. Ceda, Mayfield, the quarterback. Hobson, running back. Brandon, Langston, some of the offensive linemen. Roberson wide to left had a 45-yard play late in the first half for South. As they move right to left across your TV dial. Austin in motion. Arvin on D. Mayfield to throw. Now look to his right. Decides to run and flag is down. Across the 29-yard line. Flag is down the far side.
Well, Mark, here in the second half, we talked about it at halftime. We know what South wants to do. Again, on the first play from scrimmage there, Mayfield rolling out and looking to throw the ball downfield, scrambled, but of course there was a penalty on the play, illegal procedure. But again, here we have, Mark, we talked about the Arvin defense.
So about down lineman Fernando Rivas, Santos Rodriguez, Jaime Duran, Frank Garza, Jose Perez. The backers John Phillips, Roberto, Andy Cantu, one of the defensive ends. Jason Grider at safety. Jess Cunningham, the right corner. Crusade in the left corner. As it's cooling down here at South High. The pass complete. Across the 30 to the 34. Nice tackle by Jess Cunningham. Watch out.
Mark, that was Chad Applin, number 21, made a nice catch there. But again, Cunningham came up and made a good tackle. But again, that time South High ran 3 receivers deep, and they used Applin. He just came across into the flat area, ran a short route, made a nice completion there for South High.
Applin, number 21. Ball in the backfield to Hobson across the 32 to 35-yard line. And tackled there by number 42 for the Arvin Bears. That would be John Phillips. Not John Phillips Sousa, but John Phillips. 19-9 in favor of the Bears. South High has the ball here to begin the third quarter. 3rd and 3 for the Rebels.
Mark, one player has done a fine job for South blocking. Number 71, David Yost, a senior, 6'4", over 200 pounds. Has done a great job at left tackle for South High.
Lomax, wide left for South. Ball's fumbled by Mayfield. Now the second time he has fumbled a snap tonight, and it cost them a down. They have to punt it. That's somewhat of a critical mistake. 3rd and 3. Have a chance to get a first down. Now they have to punt the ball. At Hobson, standing back at his own 20-yard line for the Rebels.
Mark, we talked a lot of times coming out in the third quarter and really setting the tone. And for South High, that wasn't a very good opening of the third quarter for them, and really didn't get anything going there offensively. And sometimes that hurts you. So we'll see what happens there.
Hobson, nice high punt. Seth Cunningham lets it bounce. Doesn't really go anywhere. It'll be down to the 23-yard line by South. 1st and 10 for the Arvin Bears. Their white uniforms with red letters and red stripes. South in pale blue, sort of like North Carolina, and white letters.
Right. Well, Mark, here in the second half, we've got Rosales, the quarterback, and he's going to be looking to hand that ball off to Seth Cunningham. And if he has to get in the bind, you've got Jess Cunningham as a wide out split in there. So there's kind of a brother combination there. It's really been hard to stop so far tonight.
Rob Rosales, the quarterback for Arvin. I formation behind him. Seth Cunningham, the ball carrier, sneaks his way across the 25 to about the 26-yard line. Sneaks and squirms his way for a few yards. But we'll call it 2nd and 7. 9:20 to play in the third quarter. 19-9 in favor of the Arvin Bears, as they seek to go 5-0 in this 1998 season.
Well, Mark, they like to run behind number 79, the right tackle, Sam Coronel, a senior, 6'2", 360, and he's a real stalwart in that offensive line.
He's a man out there. Seth Cunningham cuts back, and a flag is down as it gets up to the 30-yard line. Might be against Arvin. Duffney the tackle for South High, and a penalty is against the Arvin Bears on the sweep left.
Well, Mark, we know what Arvin's doing, and I thought they would come out and do this. They want to control that clock with Cunningham going wide, and maybe they can run Segura up the middle a little bit if they can, but they want to keep that ball on the ground as much as possible, control the clock, and really use a lot of time to keep the ball away from the South offense, because at this point, being ahead 19-9, it's to their advantage.
2nd and 22 for the Arvin Bears, deep in their own territory. At the 13, 14-yard line. Rosales looking over the defense. Heavy rush. There's a screen. Seth Cunningham. 10, brought down to the 13-yard line by number 30. Nice smell on defense. Eric Williams, 200-pound linebacker, senior for South, reading it very well.
Mark, he also has help from number 6, Miller, the tight end on offense, also plays linebacker on defense. So, again, in that situation, South pursued very well. They really read that screenplay very well, and Cunningham really had nowhere to go. A little bit of a dangerous play there, deep in your own territory, a screenplay. So, they might be a little bit more conservative deep in their own territory here.
Cunningham wide to the right. Inside handoff goes nowhere. I was looking for them to try to reverse. Number 11, the ball carrier, Frank Segura, didn't have a chance to go anywhere that time. So great defensive effort by the South High Rebels. And they should come up with very good field position here. Midway through the third quarter, down 19-9. Hobson will be the punt returner for South. And he should receive the ball in Arvin territory. There's a rush. The punt is blocked. Recovered in the end zone. Touchdown, South High Rebels.
Mark, that was just a great play there. South had their punt block formation in there, and Arvin took a lot of time getting rid of that punt. And just a bevy of players came in there for South High, a number of players. It could have been any number of 5 guys that could have blocked that. And, of course, then South blocked the punt, fell on it in the end zone. They're back in this football game. The special teams become big tonight for South. A long field goal in the first half, and now here in the second half, a block punt and a score. So special teams coming up big for South High.
Duff picked up that ball in the end zone for South High. 3 turnovers against Arvin tonight. Mayfield fumbles the snap, and a flag is down. You're right. Since the second quarter, 3 TOs against Arvin. 2 of them critical. This is the most critical one. Block punt, and they recovered in the end zone. And now we have a 19-15 game.
Well, Mark, on the block punt there, the punter for Arvin just took way too much time. I don't know if you saw them incoming or not, but they were in a punt blocking formation, South defense. I mean, they were coming after it. They had 9 guys at the line of scrimmage, and they were coming. I'm surprised that the Arvin offense in the punt formation didn't recognize that and make some adjustments. But they just came in, and just 4 or 5 of them smothered the punter. And, of course, South recovered in the end zone for the score.
Hobson with a long PAT. That's good. That's about a 25-yard PAT attempt. 19-16. So South now is within a field goal of Arvin. Remember, it was 19-3 at one time. So South mounting a comeback here late in the second quarter, now in the third. As they're causing Arvin to turn the ball over. Now we have a good ball game, 7:41 to play in the third.
Well, Mark, we talk about South making some plays, which they are, but I think really the key to this game has really been the South defense. Just like it was last week when they were trailing Foothill 21-7 and they came back and won 28-21. They really held Foothill in check the second half. But in this game, really, they've done a good job of holding Arvin in check. Their defense has done a solid job on Arvin. And if you really want to know what's going on, they've kept Arvin really from scoring too many points. And that's kept them in the game, and they've been able to make some big plays off turnovers. But if they weren't able to stop Arvin's offense, some of these plays wouldn't matter. So I really think the key to this game is the South defense, keeping them in the football game, allowing them to make some big plays, either by special teams, and that's one of the reasons why they got back in this football game.
And the win is definitely coming up here at South High School. I'm glad I brought my jacket along. South High will be kicking it off. Hobson doing honors. He's 5'4", about 150 pounds, but has a great leg. Line drives it. And it stops, picked up by Preseda. Going to his left, 15, 20-yard line. Running east to west. And he's hit and dropped at the 24-yard line. 1st and 10 for the Arvin Bears. As they seek to get something going here. They had by only 3, 19-16 over the South High Rebels.
Well, Mark, South's done a very good job on special teams. We always talk about special teams. They did a great job there on the kickoff return. Doing a good job. He squib kicked the ball, keep the ball away from some of the dangerous return men for Arvin. One of the short men took it, and they did a good job of pursuing well and keeping Arvin really deep in their own field position area there. So they're deep in their own territory. So a good play by South on the kick return team. Special teams have done well, and the defense has really done pretty good. So it's really up to Arvin now to see if they can make a comeback now, if they can respond to the big play by South here in the third quarter. It's time for response now. It's time for an answer by Arvin.
Well, South is challenging Arvin at this point of the game. Arvin hasn't played that well since late in the second quarter after running out to that 19-3 advantage. And number 10 for South High seems to be okay. They were shaking up on that last play. Bencita, 6'1", 170. Has a pick tonight interception for the Rebels. Arvin comes up to the ball. Moving left to right across your TV dial. Timeout South High. So Arvin coming into the game tonight with a record of 4-0. South High 3-1. South High last week was very strong in the second half as they came from behind to defeat Foothill. And they're trying to do the same thing against Arvin tonight at home.
Well, we talk about that touchdown mark right before halftime, and I'll tell you, 19-3 is a big difference in 19-9. And really, that really set the tone. They came out in the second half feeling they had a chance to get back in this game. And I'm sure the coaching staff is making some adjustment to try to hold down Seth Cunningham. And if they can do that, then they can get back in this football game. But I don't know if South expected to block a punt and get a touchdown out of it. So that was really kind of a gift there. I mean, you always hope that your special teams will come up with a big play, but you don't always know they're going to do that. But that sure was a shot in the arm for them. And right now, trailing in this game like they are in 19-16 by 3 points.
Well, South High's been making the big plays of late in this ball game. We'll see what Arvin, if they can respond. 1st and 10 for the Bears at their own 25-yard line. Just Cunningham wide to the left. Arvin in the line behind Ronald Rosales. While giving straight up the middle to number 11, Frank Segura. Tries to fight his way up to about the 30-yard line. A gain of 4 or 5 yards. We'll call it 2nd and 5 for the Arvin Bears. Good pickup on 1st down for the Bears. As they try to mix it up a little bit. Go for the quick opener once in a while. Open up the outside for Cunningham like this. Cunningham wide right. Cuts inside and thrown down at the 32-yard line. Nice play by the South High defense. Cedar over there. Along with number 42, Duff, who recovered that fumble in the end zone. Actually, a blocked punt in the end zone.
And Mark, in that situation, South pursued very well on the sweep to the right, and Seth Langston came up too, number 64, to assist on the tackle.
Seth Langston seemed they're part of the defensive front for South High. 3rd and a long 2 for Arvin. Cunningham left side, has the 1st down and more to the 40 and up to about the 47-yard line. Fumbles the ball out of bounds. Almost a costly fumble by number 1 Seth Cunningham. But it's 1st and 10 for the Arvin Bears.
Well, Mark, that's what Seth Cunningham does for your offense. You almost get a situation where you feel like you're getting some momentum, stopping the Arvin offense, and then boom, he hits you quickly for a 1st down. That's what he does. He really breaks the back of a defense. You can stop him once, twice, or 3 times. The 4th time, he's capable of breaking it 60 yards for a score.
Sort of like Michael Jordan in basketball.
Sort of like when you played ball at Garces. You were that way.
No way. 6-2-1 to play in the 3rd quarter, 19-16 in favor of the Arvin Bears. This is a non-conference game, but these teams have quite a rivalry, quite a history. Rosales, play action, looking downfield, fires it, looks like it's too deep for Oscar Preseda. Preseda had a step on Cita, the pass had thrown too far by Rosales, lifted it out there. It'll be 2nd down, 2nd and 10 for the Arvin Bears.
Mark, that was a good attempt by Arvin. Play action to Seth Cunningham, and then the streak down the right sideline. He just kind of overthrew him a little bit. The quarterback,
Rosales?
Yes, Rosales, and Preseda just wasn't able to quite run under it. But it was a good attempt anyway to go deep on him. Try to get a quick score there.
Go fly pattern. Preseda across midfield to about the 48-yard line in South High territory. Going to bring up another 3rd down situation for the Arvin Bears. We'll see where they mark it. They go with that quick opener up the middle just to keep the defense honest from time to time. And then they also throw it deep frequently. Officials timeout. 3rd and 5 for the Arvin Bears at the South High 48-yard line. Miller coming over to the sideline for South. Must have an equipment adjustment.
Well, Mark, right at this time, this is probably one of the biggest plays for the South defense. You've got 3rd and 5. You got 5:51 left in the 3rd quarter. You're trailing by 3. If you can hold them here, you're going to get good field position. Big play in this game.
Chris Figures comes in at defense for South. 3rd and 5 for Arvin. Segura, heavy stop. Forward progress will give him about a half yard, maybe a yard. That'll be 4th down for Arvin
Mark, you know, we talk about the South defense. Again, they forced a punt. Number 64, again, was one of the players on that defense. Seth Link, he's had an outstanding game defensively for South. There's Segura's rushing statistics, Mark. 35 attempts for 214 yards, 6.4 average, and 2 TDs this year. Fine compliment to Seth Cunningham, the tailback, the fullback Segura.
5 minutes to play here in the third quarter. I throw the flag, maybe too much time. Against the Arvin special teams. Now let's wave off the flag. The second time tonight we have waved off a flag. I think they want some TV time. 19-16 in favor of Arvin. They have to punt it away. They were ahead at one time, 19-3. The punt. Coming to Hobson at the 10-yard line. 15, 20. A crushing block, but he's knocked out of bounds at the 23-yard line.
Mark, that time on the punt for Arvin, Jason Grader got rid of the ball much quicker, and that way there was really no attempt for South High to try to block that. Arvin was set up in a little different punt formation there to block, to nullify any type of rush that South would have put on it. So again, a good punt there by Ryder. Got rid of the ball much quicker.
On a punch and block by one of the South High people. 4:45 to play in the third quarter. 19-16 in favor of Arvin. South High with the ball. Mayfield to Burrell. Across the 25 to about the 27. Drag down. The Bears in hot pursuit. Yes, indeed. Number 31 over there. And that would be Andy Cantu, 193-pounder.
He's a solid football player. We've called his name several times tonight. Also plays a little bit of tight end on offense. Doubles, goes both ways on occasion. So again, big play here for South High. Big series, Mark. They've got to see if they can get something going here. Get themselves down in field goal range to tie this game up.
2nd and 8. Play action. Mayfield originally was going to throw. Now he runs it. Spin move, the 30, 31-yard line. Great effort by Mayfield, the quarterback for South High. It'll be about 4 yards shy of the first down. About 3rd and 4 for the Rebels.
Mark, one player who's played very well tonight for Arvin, linebacker Jose Perez, did a fine job, number 50. He's been a solid player, been in on a lot of stops, great pursuit, never gives up. He's done a great job tonight running down Mayfield, especially when Mayfield sweeps right or left or rolls out on the option pass or run. He's done a good job.
At 3rd and 4 for South. Single running back. Give it to the wingman. First down and more. To the 50, 40. Drag down to the 34-yard line. Duff. Duff's the guy who recovered that block punt in the end zone. Lined up slot right. Had an inside handoff to him, and Ellis took it the distance. He saw the real estate in front of him, and he loved it. Call out about a 35-yard run by Duff. 1st and 10 for the Rebels. Inside the Arvin 35 to 33. So the Rebels on the move once again. 3 minutes to play in the third quarter. Mayfield spin out right, flushed out of the pocket. Throws it downfield, complete to Miller. 15 to the 12-yard line.
Well, Mark, on the offensive series before that, Duff got a great block from Langston, was able to run down the left sidelines. And of course, Ryder made the game-saving or touchdown-saving tackle. And here on a rollout, Mayfield now passes the ball, rolls out to his right, passes the ball to Miller, the tight end. So they're getting a good balance now, Mark. They're starting to run the football and pass, really keeping that Arvin defense a little bit off balance. South here in the third quarter is really mixing up their offense, and they've been very effective now.
Mayfield to Burrell, slices his way inside the 10-yard line to the 9, but a flag is down. You know, Mayfield is a fine runner. Came in with over 200 yards on the ground and 350 plus through the air. Motion penalty against the Rebels. But his ability to run the football has kind of created some havoc for Arvin defense.
Mark, I'm amazed. This is the second week in a row that South had a slow first half and has come back and played very well in the second half. Again, I think the block punt for the touchdown was a key here in the second half, but really South has really taken it to Arvin here. They've really been able to run the football. Mayfield scrambling, been throwing effectively here in the second half, and that's really been a big factor, and I think they've done a much better job of containing Seth Cunningham in the second half.
5 yards against the Rebels, 1st and 15 for South. Inside the 20 to 17-yard line of the Arvin Bears. C to wide to left. Have to have 3 receivers to that side. One of them is Duff and Austin. Austin, the single running back. Behind Mayfield. Mayfield sprint out left. Faces a rush. And goes down for sack. Didn't see number 19 coming from the other side. Adrian Roberte, 206-pounder for Arvin, came from the weak side and sacked the quarterback Mayfield.
Also number 50, Jose Perez was in there again.
Jose
Mark,
Perez.
doing a great job of pursuing Mayfield and just ran him down that time. Great stand here so far by the Arvin defense the last couple of plays. They've really stepped up their defense now, putting more pressure. And it looks like they're starting to blitz Mayfield a little more, which they haven't been doing earlier. They're starting to bring some DBs, defensive backs, to put more pressure, not getting him the kind of time he wants to
Mayfield
throw.
to Roberson on the spin move. Inside the 15. Well shy of the first down marker. Look-in pattern to Roberson, who had a long reception late in the second quarter. Now comes up limping somewhat. But Mayfield has delivered the ball very effectively here in the second half. He's throwing it with a lot of confidence. His receivers are getting open, they're catching the ball. He's not overthrowing people. Miller comes out along with Roberson. Cedar back in for South High. Okay, we have 3rd and 11 for the Rebels. 45 seconds to play in the third quarter. Mayfield with the count. Play action over the middle. Pass incomplete. Going behind the intended receiver, number 21 for South High. And Chad Applin, 185-pounder. So 4th down, I guess the Hobson will try another field goal attempt.
Yeah, he was right there. Applin, an 8-yard over the middle pass, and you know, the quarterback rushed just a little bit there. Good pressure by the Arvin defense. He threw behind him a little bit and cost him 7 points there. Now they're in a field goal situation.
It's about a 32-yarder by Hobson. It's high enough. No good. Wide left. So Hobson, but a flag is down. Roughing the kicker against Arvin. Hobson has made a 47-yarder tonight. Made about a 30-yard PAT attempt. His other 2 field goal tries. The second one was not hit squarely. This time he hit it very well, but off to the left. Hobson with a couple of touchdowns this year. Penalty against Arvin. And that's what, about a 5 or
2 TDs for Hobson, Mark. 1 point. He's had 5 one-point conversions. No 2 points. 1 field goal. Total of 20 points this year. He's been a fine kicker.
Half a distance to the goal line for South High. It is 1st and goal for South. Another mistake by Arvin, roughing the kicker. And South in the red zone inside the 10-yard line, 1st and goal. Hobson, a single running back behind, Joey Mayfield. Receiver switch side. Hobson, a ball carrier, fumbles the ball. Who has it? Everybody scrambling for it. Arvin wanted to come away with it, but I think it's South High's ball.
Mark, that really helped out South High. They fumbled the ball forward, made an extra 2 yards on the play, so they gained some yards on that play. So a big break for South High. You don't want to turn over deep into Arvin territory there. That might really blow this game if you're Arvin. You don't want to get in that. Excuse me, for South, you don't want to do that.
That's into the third quarter from South High School. The score, Arvin 19, South 16. And you're watching the Prep Football Game of the Week exclusively on CNNSI. Time Warner Cable, Channel 52.
Mark, here we're starting the fourth quarter, and we see the momentum change to South High. The third quarter was really all South High. They got the big block punt, and were able to cash in for 7 points. And their defense, I thought, has done a very good job of containing Seth Cunningham here in the second half. And the offense is starting to move the football a little bit in the second half, especially there in the third quarter. I thought Mayfield's mixed up his offensive repertoire quite a bit today. He's been able to throw the football, and also that set up a little bit of the running game. They've been able to run the ball more effectively in the third quarter than they were in the first half. So a combination of running the football better in the third quarter and being more effective with their passing game, South has really assisted them. And of course, the specialty team has made the big turnover and got 7. Put him back in this football game. So we'll see what Arvin can do here, Mark, starting the fourth quarter. Arvin's got to come out here and get a little bit more aggressive and try to get the momentum back.
Second and goal for South High on the Arvin 8-yard line. It was 19-3 at one point tonight. South scored before the first half was up after a turnover against Arvin as they fumbled the ball in their backfield. South blocked the punt, recovered it in the end zone in the third quarter, and they have dominated the second half. As we begin the fourth quarter, Mayfield looking over the defense. Looking left, looking right, split backs behind him. Looking right, the pass complete. Great reception by number 2 for South High. Touchdown for the Rebels. Lomax, Dan Lomax. Nice height at 6'1". Caught the ball out to 2, danced it in the end zone.
Well, Mark, what he did on that was he made a quick move to the outside. Brasser, the left cornerback, bit on the outside move. Then he just turned inside. Just a 2-step drop by the quarterback Mayfield. He caught it and just pranced into the end zone. So South High now goes up in front. Just a great one-on-one move by the receiver there for Lomax for South High.
Mayfield's been throwing the ball very effectively of late for South, especially in the second half. And they have come alive for the second consecutive week. In the final 2 quarters, offsides against Arvin. Arvin has been making a lot of mistakes since midway through the second quarter. They definitely have lost their concentration in this game. We're talking about turnovers, penalties. They really have helped out South in this ball game tonight.
Well, Mark, of course, on the mistake on the breakdown on the punt formation, where South blocked the punt and got a score. And then when South was going for a field goal, it was no good. They had roughing the kicker. So 2 major mistakes there for Arvin gave South the ball back in good field position, and they were able to cash in.
South tries a PAT, it's no good. Going for the 2 points, 22-19 in favor of South, and they have scored 19 consecutive points.
Well, Mark, there's not much you can say about this second half. It's been all South High, and I'm amazed. South High just seems to really come alive in the second half. They were helped out a little bit by Arvin, but they've made some plays, and that's really made a difference. We talked about Mayfield, how effective he's become in the second half. He's had a little bit more time to throw. He's zeroed in a little bit better on his receivers in the second half, not getting the ball so high, throwing the ball a little bit more accurate, got a little bit more confidence. And, you know, for a quarterback, when you complete a couple passes, nothing is more important for the psyche of a quarterback than completing a few, and that just breeds success. And that's really what's happened to Mayfield here. An experienced senior quarterback shown great leadership here in the second half. We've got 11:56 mark left in this football game, and now it's time. I said it earlier. It's time, Mark, for Arvin to respond. Do they have it in them?
Arvin has to respond. They want to remain undefeated this year. They're 4-0 coming in. South has been on a roll since late in the second quarter. The 19-16, now it's 22-19 in favor of South. Hobson will kick it out for the Rebels as they're moving left to right here in the fourth quarter. Of course, Arvin in the opposite direction. They put it shallow. Picked up by number 22 for the Arvin Bears. Pretty good field position as he pushed his way across the 40 to about the 42. That would be Victor Segoviano, who's played some of fullback tonight for Arvin. So the Bears get very good field position. They want to kick it that way to not allow Seth Cunningham to bring it back a long ways, and Arvin gets the ball at their own 44-yard line.
Mark, we had a great finish last week, Bakersfield and Centennial. We might have a great finish again tonight between South and Arvin. Two great games.
I love fantastic finishes. Braceda, slot left for Arvin. I formation. Seth Cunningham, the tailback. Tees the ball here. Hit it back with slips attack. Midfield 50, 45. He's going to go the distance. 30, 20. Forget about it. Touchdown, Arvin.
What did I say, Mark? Again, defense playing very well, but Seth Cunningham only needs one block. We talked about earlier that you can stop him 4 or 5 times, but he has the ability to go 40 yards, 50 yards, 60 yards on any play. That was about a 56-yard run for the score down the right sideline. Got a great block. Coronel, the right tackle, made a great block and sprung him down the right side, so he uses great speed.
They just exploded into the opening. He can smell that end zone from 55 yards away. Like you said, once you allow him a little seam, the big play player hasn't seen the ball out here in the second half. And a PAT is good. Just like that, Arvin is ahead in this ball game. Salve responds. The PAT attempt by Oscar Braceda. 26-22, Arvin Bears.
Well, Mark, one of the things that's hurt South tonight, and I think you would agree a little bit, is a little bit of speed on the defense. I mean, when he gets outside, he's gone. And, one of the ways you're going to be effective against the Arvin offensive running game is you've got to have a lot of team speed on your defense. You've got to be able to recover well. South High does a good job when they're in the right position, but if they're not in the right position, a lot of times they can't recover well enough. And that's hurt him tonight, is that once he's able to break down that first wall of the defense, he's gone. They just don't have the overall speed to run him down.
I always love it when a 165-pounder can dominate a game.
He does. But I tell you earlier about him, though, is that you could stop him 5 or 6 times, but he breaks the back of the defense. Arvin looked like they were in bad shape. Now he puts them out in front again. So that's what he does. That's why they're unbeaten this year, because he's a great football player.
Had a chance at an arm tuck on the backfield, but he was able to squirm away. As the kick rolls around, South better pick it up. It's still live. And the Rebels, I think, falling on their own 18-yard line. Well, that ball was squirming everywhere. Rebels had about 3 players with their hands on the ball. That would have been a costly turnover against the Rebels, as the South High fans have been stunned by the long run by Seth Cunningham.
Well, Mark, number 20, Nick Hobson fell on the football, but somebody should have grabbed that right away. That's a live ball there on the kickoff. It looked like they were trying to, nobody really wanted to pick it up. And it was just, it's not like a punt where it's dead. You got to pick that ball up on the kickoff. That's live. Finally, Hobson had the smarts enough to pick it up and fall on it.
South High inside their 20-yard line, 1st and 10 from the 19. Plenty of time left, 11:33. It is Arvin 26, South 22. South has scored 19 consecutive points before that burst into the open by Seth Cunningham. Mayfield Plax rolling to his left. Here comes the rush. He better unload it. He goes down inside his 10-yard line. Mayfield trying to throw it deep to Roberson and Austin. They were about 40 yards downfield. He was running to his left, a very difficult throw for a right-hander. And Arvin put off a heat, a rush. The Bears clawing back into this one.
Well, Mark, nothing helps the defense more than a quick score by your offense. And in that situation, that was a great pursuit by number 72, Fernando Rivas, the right tackle, defensive tackle, 5'9", 265. Boy, is he a man.
And he's running, he's working out there. 2nd and long for South, 2nd and 18. Inside their 10-yard line, Mayfield Plax rolling to his left. Here comes the rush once again. He decides to run it to the outside. Knocked out of bounds. Fine run by Mayfield. He's at about the 15 or 16-yard line. Still a long ways to go, though, for South High.
Well, Mark, Mayfield's done a fine job here in the second half when he's able to, he likes to sprint out to his left and right, look for some of his receivers. But when there's nobody open, he's shown some good acceleration, some good speed. He has a good knack to run the football and a sense of when to run and when to throw. He's done a fine job here in the second half.
10 minutes plus to play in a ball game. It's 3rd and 16 for South High. Duff slot right. Austin White to the right. Ball on the left hash mark for South High. Mayfield directing his offense. Sprint out right. Looking deep for Austin. Fires it out here, incomplete. Austin and Duff were the closest to the ball, but they had to unload it out of bounds. 4th down for South. Excellent defensive stand by Arvin High. And look at the ball back in very good field position. And back there is number 1 Seth Cunningham, along with Braceda for Arvin. They stand at their own 40 or 45-yard line.
So Mark, the big play there was Rivas making a big stop on the quarterback, Mayfield, and really putting him in a situation where it was 3rd and long. So great, like you say, great stand by the Arvin defense again. Cunningham probably got him really inspired by that great run. Now Arvin's going to get the ball back in good field position. We'll see what happens now.
Definitely got me inspired. Hobson's punt almost blocked, in over in. It takes a south roll. Arvin will take it at their own 41, but a flag is down. We might have another personal foul against Arvin.
Mark, I don't believe it. Arvin was in a situation there where they're trying to block the punt. They ran into the kicker, so it'll be 1st down for South High. Another mistake by the Arvin special teams tonight. Boy, they've had a slew of them tonight. That's just not good thinking there. You lead the football game. You're going to get good field position. You should be set up with a return with Seth Cunningham. Instead, you're trying to block the punt, and you run into the kicker.
Well, the thing is, when you go in to block the punt, you should come in from the side, not straight on.
Well, Mark, I guess my thinking here is that why are you trying to block the punt when you're ahead? You got momentum. You're going to get the ball in good field position, midfield with Seth Cunningham. You might even run it back. Instead, you give South a 1st down at their own 30-yard line. It doesn't make any sense.
It is kind of unusual, isn't it? 9:40 to play. Maybe that's why I'm not a coach. South with the ball, 1st down at their own 27-yard line, 28-yard line. Mayfield. The ball given to Burrell off the left side. At a short game, maybe 3 or 4 yards. He's up to about the 33-yard line.
Well, Mark, I think now with 9:25 left in the football game, South's not going to be able just to sit there and run the football. I mean, they're behind this football game. They're going to have to try to move a little quicker. Time is their enemy now, and I think you're going to see Mayfield. He's got to get that ball up in the air and get a score here, but they're not going to be able to run the football all the way down the field. And the situation is they don't have that kind of time now.
9 minutes close to playing the ball game. Wide to the right, number 2 caught that touchdown pass for South High. And that'd be Lomax. Mayfield at 2nd and 7. Burrell breaks a tackle, close to the 1st down marker. We'll see where they spot the ball. He's inside his 40-yard line to 38 or 39. Now he stayed on his feet and kept on driving and driving. It'll be 3rd and short for South High.
Yeah, fine one by Burrell. Ran behind Langston and a few of the other excellent offensive linemen tonight for South High. But again, Mark, it's taken an awful lot of time, 3rd and short. Even if they run it here and make a 1st down, they're using precious seconds on that clock.
Dickerson, number 14, and a slot right for South. Mayfield gives the 1st man through, 1st down for South High, number 44, Chris Figures. They brought him in for that purpose to get the 1st down. As he powered the ball straight up the middle, 1st and 10 for South.
Mark, one player he's been running behind the last 2 offensive series is David Yost, the right tackle, number 71. Done a fine job for South High.
As we see some of the fans in the stands here at South High School doing their rebel yell. 7:55 to play in the ball game. 26-22 Arvin from South High School. Mayfield to throw it. Got it picked off by Arvin's number 42 to the 30-25. They push him forward. Big TO against South. Great pickoff by John Phillips, number 42. The ball came right to him.
Well, Mark, what that was is that was a 3-step drop by Mayfield. Looked to his left, a slant in by the receiver, but the linebacker, Phillips, just kind of dropped back about 5 yards, just floated over there. And I don't think that Mayfield even saw him. He threw the ball, and he just ran right in front of the receiver, picked it off, and ran down the right sideline. And now Arvin has the ball 1st down at the South High 25-yard line. It was just a great play by Phillips. Mayfield never even saw him.
Arvin with very good field position. Draw play to Seth Cunningham. Sneaks to the 20, heads to the outside until about the 14-yard line. Sneaks and squirms, slides, dashes, flashes. Seth Cunningham.
Well, Mark, Lomax there, the left corner for South, made a game-saving, actually a touchdown-saving tackle, so it would have been even worse. But right now, I think it's pretty much Arvin's game unless there's some major turnaround here. They're in control here. They've come back in the 4th quarter, Mark. I thought the key was Seth Cunningham's fine touchdown run, 55-yard touchdown run. But again, South just hasn't been able to make the plays here. Made some mistakes here in the 4th quarter.
They remain in the I formation behind Raul Rosales. Inside handoff. Close to the goal line to number 11 has done a good job tonight, and that'll be Frank Segura. As the defense is just focused on Seth Cunningham going either wide left or wide right, and Segura can sneak up the middle on that type of play.
With his great quickness, yeah, that really gives him a 1-2 punch there. You got Mr. Inside Segura, Mr. Outside Cunningham, and very difficult for the defense to really stop both players, to commit to both.
Grayson Greider, wide right for Arvin. First and goal, Seth Cunningham up the middle to the goal line. Touchdown, Arvin Bears.
Mark, I think that last interception by Mayfield really took the starch out of the South defense there. They didn't offer much resistance on that last offensive series by Arvin. They pretty much had their way there. Combination of, the Seth Cunningham running the ball and Segura running the football, and it just opened up some nice holes. Coronel, the right tackle, has had an outstanding game for Arvin tonight, and they've been running behind him quite a bit. He's our best offensive lineman. They've just been dominating here in the fourth quarter.
And the PAT is up, and it is good. Arvin about their average right now. 33-22. They've been averaging just slightly over 33 points a game. They're right there now with 6:32 to play in the ball game.
Mark, it just shows you the explosiveness of the Arvin attack, and this is one thing teams in the South Dakota League are going to be finding out. How do you stop Seth Cunningham? Not just him, but you've got Rosales, the quarterback, who's a fine passer. You've got Greider. You've got Jesse Cunningham. So you've got a lot of good players there. Breveda, a lot of guys who can hurt you. So it's really going to be down the stretch. This team is so explosive that they can score at any time, and very quickly tonight you can see what's happened with this explosive offense.
In my opinion, they would have to be the team to beat in the SSL. I'd be surprised if Garces was as strong as them right now, but we'll find out. In fact, I think if Arvin was still in the Southeastern Seminole League, they'd be challenging BHS for the top spot.
Well, I think the thing I like about Arvin, Mark, is I think you can move the ball in their defense. They're a quick defense, not real big. I think a power team can move the football on them. But I think the problem with you is when you're a defense, how do you stop them? They're so explosive offensively.
And a short kickoff. Going to be down for South at the 30-yard line. When you catch the ball in high school or college and your knee hits the ground, you are down.
I mean, last week they played Ridgeview, and that was a high-scoring game. Ridgeview has a great offense, and Arvin had a hard time stopping them, and vice versa. Tonight, again, South having a hard time stopping Arvin. Arvin has a great offense. Maybe defensively might not be quite where they want to be, but offensively they're very solid.
Because as you know, Arvin had a punt blocked in the end zone. That was a South touchdown. Some of the penalties against Arvin assisted South in their scoring tonight. But Arvin could put the points on the board. They're an offensive-minded team. Burrell has an opening. Throw it to the 40, midfield 50. And finally dragged down to the 40-yard line in Arvin territory.
Mark, we haven't said enough about Burrell tonight. He's a fine runner. Not a real big kid, but again, he made a great move inside, got great blocking. Again, we always talk about Seth Langston. Yost also did a fine job for the South offensive line. And again, he's had a fine, solid football night tonight. Good runner. He's done a great job. He doesn't fumble the football. A tough kid, not very big. Has really, really helped South High tonight as a football player. Good ball player.
At about a 25-yard run. First and 10 for the Rebels at the Arvin 40-yard line. 6 minutes to play in the ball game. At 33-22 in favor of Arvin. Mayfield looking to his right. Lost it downfield, incomplete. Intended for Austin. I think the official called that a pass interference. He definitely will be helping somebody out. That was not anywhere close to being a pass interference penalty like some people thought.
No, that was a fine play there. And
the ball was uncatchable anyway.
Yeah, he did a good job running stride for stride with Austin down the right side.
Just because you touch somebody doesn't mean it's pass interference. I mean, this is football. There is contact in the sport, if there's supposed to be. 5:54 to play, 2nd and 10. Draw play to Hobson to the 40. Now breaks to the outside. 35. Goes down to the 31-yard line. Nice run by Nick Hobson.
Well, Mark, number 2, Brasida's been all over the field here in the fourth quarter. He plays in the secondary for Arvin, and a fine job. Made his tackle on Hobson. Raced all the way across the field to make that tackle. Fine play.
You know, with all these players going both ways, they have to be in great condition and great shape.
Well, it helps when you're 165 pounds.
Yeah, it does. I know the feeling. I used to be there. 3rd and 1 for South High at the Arvin 31. 3 receivers going out. Mayfield sprint out right under heavy duress, throws it complete to Duff. First down for South at the Arvin 15. Tackled by Briseda.
Well, Mark, Mayfield's been much more effective tonight rolling out to his right. It's easier to throw the football rolling out to his right because he's right-handed. He's done a good job on that sideline pass tonight, especially here in the second half. They've been able to throw that ball underneath the safeties and over the linebackers. So it's been very effective here in the second half.
Okay, 1st and 10 for the South High Rebels in Arvin territory at the 15. As they refuse to die. Down by 11. Play action. The pass complete to number 21 Applin inside the 10 to about the 8. South on the move once again.
Excuse me, again, Mark. They're really working on Briseda, the left corner for Arvin. He's a little smaller, but he does a great job, I think, for Arvin. But apparently South feels that he's maybe the weak link because on the other side, maybe they feel that Grider's a little tougher. So they've been working on the right side, or you could say the left side of the Arvin secondary.
2nd and 4 for South. 3 receivers to the left side. Ball given to Burrell. Fights his way inside the 5 to about the 4. And he should have the first down. It should be 1st and goal for South.
Again, Mark, I hate to say this, but South, you're really using too much time. 1 touchdown, not going to win this game for them. They need to almost go to a no-huddle offense, but they've got to pick it up just a little bit here, using too much time on the clock to try to score here.
They'll go with the onside kick if they do score a touchdown. Mayfield looking over the defense, 3:55 on the clock. Dickerson wide to the right for South. Mayfield rolling to his left. Face a heavy rush, gets away momentarily. Now he'll run it to the 5. Touchdown, South High! Mayfield with an excellent run, faced pressure from the backside. Thought about throwing it, burst his way into the end zone.
Well, Mark, he was being pressured by Fernando Rivas. I can't believe that Fernando Rivas is over 260 pounds. He runs like a 210-pounder. But again, Mayfield was able to outrun him down the in the left flat, and then nobody open. He just ran it into the end zone. So a sprint out by Mayfield, nobody open, just outran the secondary and the defense of Arvin to score there, to put him back closer in this football game.
Should be 33-28. And South High calls a timeout. Of course, they want to go for the 2-point conversion.
Yeah, you have
to bring them within 3 points of Arvin.
I'll tell you, this is the key to the game because, you know, with Hobson, the way he kicks the ball on his field goals, if they can get a 2-point PAT here, Mark, and if they get the onside kick, they can really tie this game up, even if they don't get the onside kick. You know, they got some timeouts. They're going to have to be selective. The defense has to stop Arvin. They cannot afford to let Arvin get even 1 first down. They might get the ball back with under a minute left if they play their cards right.
Another fantastic finish on CNN SI, Time Warner Cable Channel 52. Next week, you get to do it by yourself.
Yes, I'll be doing it. But I'll tell you one thing, Mark. This is the second week in a row we've had an excellent game down to the wire. These two teams, as we noted earlier, very evenly matched. An excellent football game.
3:37 on the clock. South will go for 2 points, down 33-28. Mayfield's just scored as he looks over the defense. Everybody's very close. Ball given to Burrell, hit in the backfield, and he'll be stopped. That was somewhat of an unusual play. It definitely wasn't executed very well by South High, as they somewhat blow the 2 points.
Well, Mark, if you're going to be in a position where you're going to try to win this football game, I don't think a run-off tackle and a PAT is really where you want to be. You know, he's been sprinting out, being very successful tonight. Why didn't Mayfield sprint out left or right and then have the option of either running or throwing it? Give the defense a double thing to look at. You know, put some pressure on the defense where, you know, they don't know if you're going to run or throw. That was just an off-tackle play. You really ran right into the teeth of the Arvin Bear defense. You made it easy for him.
Did you notice how close South High was lined up and the defense, everybody was stacked in? I thought he'd try a play action Mayfield or fake the ball and roll out to his left.
Well,
try to throw it or run it, have an option, as you said.
The whole point is, you know, you're in a situation where you have to get 2 points. You call timeout. That's the best play you can come up with. It's an off-tackle play.
But it's very difficult to score inside from 2.5 yards away on a PAT because the defense was all stacked up there to stop it. Everybody was lined up inside.
One thing too, Mark, they've been running effectively on the right side behind Langston and Yost. This time they go to the left side where they haven't been running that effectively, and they don't make any yards. So I don't understand that PAT at all.
That's why you're doing the game next week. 3:37 on the clock. Will South High kick it deep? Will they squib it? Will they knock it about 10 yards? We will see what happens. Only one player is deep for Arvin. That is Braceda, standing at his 5-yard line. 33-28 in favor of the Arvin Bears. Hobson kicks it softly. Picked up by Arvin. And the Bears will have it at their own 47-yard line. I didn't think that the Bears went after the ball aggressively, but it bounced to the hands of number 22, Victor Segoviano.
Well, one of the South kickoff men did what he was supposed to. He tipped the ball, but unfortunately he tipped it right into the hands of an Arvin receiver there. If he had just got it by him, that first wave of receivers, then he might have had a chance to maybe recover the ball for South.
I saw a play like that return for a touchdown once when Corcoran was playing Wasco for the Sequoia Division Championship in the late 80s. It was a return for a touchdown by Corcoran. That was a big play which beat Wasco. 5-point lead for Arvin. They have the ball at their own 47-yard line. 3:33 on the clock for Rosales and company. Seth Cunningham, midfield 50. That's about it. As it gets into South High territory at the 49. Fest has scored on a 55-yarder here in the second half for Arvin, which really turned the tide of this game. After South has scored 19 consecutive points, then he scored again. After a turnover, after a pickoff, after an INT by the Arvin Bears. Then South came back and scored on a Mayfield run. This game has gone back and forth. Arvin had a 19-3 lead at one point. They led at 19-9 after the half. Segoviano hit and dropped for about a yard loss.
Mark, fine job there by the South defense. We talked about them having to make a stand here, having to make a stop. They cannot afford to let Arvin get a first down. If they do that, they get the ball back for one last chance in this game. This is the play of the game for the South defense. 3rd and 8. They've got to make a stand here.
Rivera for a pop for South High. 2:31 on the clock. And it's 3rd and 8 for Arvin. As the clock now continues to run. The ball at midfield. Jess Cunningham, wide left. Braceda, slot right. I formation. Raul Rosales at quarterback. Pitch back. Seth Cunningham has a box in front of him. Midfield 50, 45. First down. Stays in bounds inside of 40 to the 38. Too much speed to the outside by SC, but a flag is down, most likely against Arvin on a wide sweep like that.
Well, Mark, South was in the right defense. They knew it was coming, but they just weren't able to stop it. But they're fortunate, though, there was a penalty on Arvin to bring the ball back.
It is clipping against the Arvin Bears. That will nullify that fine first down run by Seth Cunningham. 2:06 on the clock. And Arvin will have the ball back in their own territory at the 42-yard line. Ball around hash mark. Well, the South defense trying to come up with a play here at 3rd and long, 3rd and about 15 for Arvin. The South High fans are standing to their feet just like us with their rebel yell.
Well, Mark, it's 3rd and long, but I really believe Arvin's going to keep the ball on the ground. Even if they don't make a first down, they want to use up some of that clock.
And officials are discussing what they will be having after the game tonight.
Well, I'm not really quite sure what kind of menu they're going to be getting, but I can tell you one thing right now, it's not 3rd and 8. They got to figure out exactly here how many yards they have for a first down for Arvin.
They move back to the 37-yard line. So it looks like it's about 3rd and 18, 3rd and 20. 3rd and long for the Arvin Bears. There's a reverse to Braceda, fumbles the ball in the backfield. South High comes up with it. Critical turnover by Arvin on the reverse play, which they utilized and scored a touchdown earlier in the game.
Well, Mark, Braceda couldn't grab the handoff. Seth Langston recovered it for South. But Mark, 3rd and 20, a reverse have a good chance to make a turnover there in your own territory, you should just take that ball and run it up the middle. You should not be fooling around with the reverse in that situation. Too much of a chance of a mishandle, like on that play there. That's the first time they run it all day. Don't understand that call.
Well, they ran once before in the first half, and he scored from 31 yards away, but kind of a strange call this segment of the game. Back deep in your own territory. 1:53 to play, south of the Arvin 25-yard line. Burrell to the outside, 25, spin move to the 20, and driven down. Nice run by Burrell. South down by 5 points, 1:40 on the clock.
Mark Burrell made a nice move there to kind of sidestep or juke Jess Cunningham, the right corner for Arvin. Again, right now, South High is in great shape. Turnovers have hurt Arvin, but South now, good field position, a chance to get back in this game and even go ahead with a touchdown.
Lomax, Duff, wide to the right for South. Mayfield spin out right, heavy rush, throws it up into the air, and it is incomplete. Looked like Preseda should have knocked the ball away. He almost knocked the ball into the hands of the South High receiver.
Lomax, Mark.
That ball should have been knocked out of the end zone.
Lomax almost had it for a score. That ball's tipped around in the air, and Lomax has great hands. The split in for South and almost took that ball in for a score. He looks a little bit like Randy Moss trying to catch that ball.
But almost doesn't count, not in checkers or chess. 1:10 to play. 3rd and 4 for South at the Arvin 20-yard line. And the wind is beginning to pick up here atop the South High press box. Everybody standing to their feet at 3rd and 4. Looked like South moved too early on the left side. I think it's against the Rebels. Looked like I saw some movement early by the left tackle or left guard for the Rebels. In fact, I think they got away with one 2 plays ago.
Well, Mark, that's not going to hurt them too much in this situation because this is 2-down territory. You've got 3rd and maybe 9 here. But even if they don't make it, they're going to go for it on 4th down anyway. So it's a situation where South has 2 chances to get a first down or 2 chances to score a touchdown.
And South needs a touchdown to win this ball game. They're down by 5. The field goal won't do them any good. 3rd and 9 for the Rebels. 1:09 to play. Duff flanked out wide right. Now he'll line up on the left side for the Rebels. Ball on the left hash mark. As they have 3 receivers to the left side. Mayfield looking that way. Now coming back the other way. Fires it complete to the 25 on Applin. Nice tackle by the Bears. Probably a gain of about 1 yard. They had it, the left side flooded with 3 receivers. Came back the other way. It'll be 4th down and 8 for South. And they'll call a timeout. You're watching high school football on CNN SI, Time Warner Cable, Channel 52.
The ravages of time. Just like paint, tape can oxidize. And oxygen is slowly eating away your most cherished family videos. A baby's first steps, first words, first birthday. These memories, once lost, can never be recovered. You can't stop time, but you can fight oxidation by duplicating your videos at Time Warner Productions. Our state-of-the-art repair and duplication services can help preserve your memories for future generations. Time Warner Productions, located at 3600 North Select Avenue in the Time Warner Cable Building.
Bakersfield. Motion on the Bakersfield line will move them back 5 yards.
That is the call. It'll go back 5 yards, and it is 3rd. Geez, what should we call this? 3rd and 35?
3rd forever.
Play by Arvin. There was double coverage by the Bears. Looked like the officials threw a flag after the play. But Arvin will take over at their own 39-yard line. After the 4th and 7 play did not work for the South High Rebels.
Well, Mark Mayfield threw the ball down the right sideline. Brasina and Grider were both back there, double covered on Lomax, were able to knock the ball away. So South turned away. They gave it a good shot there. But Arvin smelled the play out, knew they were going to go deep, and they really had double coverage in the secondary. Did a nice job of knocking the ball down.
Looks like Arvin has been able to win this game despite some of their errors and mistakes. Cunningham to the outside. Midfield 50, puts his head down. 1st and 10 for the Arvin Bears. Clock at 40 seconds. 33-28 in favor of Arvin. And South had it 4th and 7. Deep in Arvin territory. Been some strange calls in this game. And some of the calls have led to the other team staying in a ball game or going ahead. But Arvin will be standing up at the end tonight with a 5-point win. But a great ball game here tonight between South High and Arvin. Both teams showing a lot of courage and a lot of character. Arvin improves to 5-0. South drops to 3-2. And the final score 33-28 in favor of the Bears over the South High Rebels. Seth Cunningham with another fine ball game for Arvin. Had a 55-yard jaunt here in the second half. A 7-yard run, which basically put them ahead and turned momentum back into the favor of the Arvin Bears. South High recovered a punt in the end zone for one of their scores. Arvin twice ran into the punter tonight. And both teams had their share of errors, but nevertheless, a fine victory for Arvin over South, 33-28. I'm Mark Heffernan. My brother Dennis will have some interviews right after the game tonight. You're watching the high school football game of the week exclusively on CNN-SI, Time Warner Cable, Channel 52.
The ravages of time. Just like paint, tape can oxidize, and oxygen is slowly eating away your most cherished family videos. A baby's first steps, first words, first birthday. These memories, once lost, can never be recovered. You can't stop time, but you can fight oxidation by duplicating your videos at Time Warner Productions. Our state-of-the-art repair and duplication services can help preserve your memories for future generations. Time Warner Productions, located at 3600 North Select Avenue in the Time Warner Cable Building. Holiday Ford Lincoln Mercury is clearing out the 98s. Now we have $1,000 cash back, plus 0.9% financing on Escorts, Contours, Mystiques, Tracers, and Rangers. Now that's real savings. How about a red carpet lease on a new 98 Explorer? Come in and buy one, and the first payment up to $500 is on us. Don't make a wrong turn. Make the turn for Lerdo Highway in Shafter. We're easy to get to from both the 5 and 99 freeways. Say habla español.
Come to Holiday.
Over the last 60 years, Chan Younger has helped thousands of accident victims. Oil field work is some of the most dangerous work around. Many people are seriously injured or killed as a result of faulty equipment and poor safety training. We didn't want this to continue, so we fought until changes in oil field safety were made. Accidents still happen, and when they do, we'll be there for you.
Hi, we're here on the post-game show with Seth Cunningham. The final score was Arvin 33, South High 28. Seth, I thought the running game was really effective tonight. Any adjustments you guys made coming in to play the South defense as opposed to Ridgeview last week?
Yeah, we tried to use other weapons, use me as a decoy, try to spread the game out and get more passing.
Well, I thought, especially in the first half, you were able to get wide on them. Was there any plan on that to go wide? Because it seemed like the sweeps were really working effectively. You were able to break and get deep on them, but I thought getting outside on this team was really very effective.
Yeah, last week we went up the middle more, and we thought we can get outside because of the game films, and we did, so we kept using it. We were effective on it.
Well, you know, the running game's really been working well for Arvin this year. I guess the running has really been the key, especially for you. How does the team look now going into league play coming down? Do you guys feel like you're really right where you want to be?
Yeah, we're doing pretty good right now. The runs have worked pretty good for us. We had 4 solid games. Looking for next week. We know we have a tough competition with Wasco's running back, but we hope we can stop him and keep the run effective.
So, you know, the team's unbeaten, so it's just a matter of continue to improve and keep the running game going. How about defensively? How does the team look in your opinion?
Pretty good. We have a pretty good defense. We've been stopping the runs. They had pretty good runs on us tonight and last week, but we kept them under control and got ahead.
Well, I want to congratulate you. A fine game tonight. Congratulations. This is Dennis Heffernan, post-game show with Time Warner Cable Channel 52. Back to you.